Chat, it is time. The appointed hour has arrived. Balanced Dataslate June 2025 is now in our hands. We can stop prognosticating upon it. We can stop debating whether or not the spoilers are correct because we have all of the rules in front of us right now, and it's crazy. The breadth of this update is huge. We have faction update roles for multiple factions, new detachments for several new factions, new Militarum field manual update, new chapter approved tournament companion to guide our tournament play, terrain layout updates. It's wild. The one thing we don't have, and I'm a level with you, I appreciate this. There's no core rules updates. Core rules have not changed. Only data sheets and stuff. So we don't have to redefine how line of sight works for the 1 trillionth time, which is, whew, thank God. We can finally stop doing that maybe until 11th edition. But we have so much other stuff to talk about that it's going to be freaking wild, dude. Absolutely wild. Read Dataslate and Militarum field manual for you. That's what we're here for. We will read through it all together. It was tradition to delve into into core rules updates. Yeah, I guess that's true.
Ryan G donated $10 through Super Chat.
Ryan G, thank you for the Super Chat.
Let's get the Tyranids suffer part out of the way. Hive Tyrant paying for the sins of UM. Snip snap. Snip snap. GW has no idea the physical till 3x CP ability changes has on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I have mixed feelings about Tyranids, chat. I don't know what... I don't think Games Workshop even has any idea what to do with Tyranids. However, they did just get a new detachment that's really cool. So... maybe it's fine. I don't know, chat. I don't know how it's going to work. But what's my thoughts on the Hive Tyrant change? So I guess I will give my thoughts on the Hive Tyrant change when we run into it. And I wouldn't say bigger. The Hive Tyrant change is fucking massive. I don't quite understand what Games Workshop thinks Tyranids did to deserve their treatment, but there are a couple other sort of subtle changes inside the tournament companion. Carnifex has got way worse. Just, by themselves, I guess. I don't know. And some other stuff. But we will dive into the Dataslate update first, because that will include a lot of those changes. So let me make sure that my viewer is aligned so I don't cut off all the text. And we will get into it. One moment. All right, that's much better. Whoop. Let's go, chat. I'm gonna do interestinger again because it's so exciting. Let's go. Didn't bother touching Knights, and new codex is coming out. That's probably what's going on. All right, balance update time. Shall we begin? By the way, I want to give a shout out. I'm on a new mouse pad. This is a weird non sequitur, but I got my Warhammer Skulls. Oh, it's kind of off screen actually. Now that I'm looking at it, Warhammer Skulls 2025. They sent me a gift package. I got a bolt gun mouse pad. This thing is it's so silky soft. Look at this little fucking guy. It's got the bolt gun stern guard guy. What's up, buddy? I love him. But I was just... this is my first time using it, and it feels good on my hands. So that's nice. All right, let's talk about the balanced data slate. That's my obligatory Skulls 2025 shout out of the way. They sent it to me after the show, though, because I was traveling for DreamHack, and so it got to me the day before Skulls, so I don't know what they were expecting me to do with it. But I do appreciate it. There's also a Servo Skull. I got a little Servo Skull behind me. Oh, he's off screen right now, too. Everything's off screen. Doesn't matter. Let's talk about this up. So, broad spectrum core changes. Very little has happened. Basically, everything's going to be data sheet changes, which I appreciate. So, there was, I think there was some... what's the word? What's that word where you... talk about things. There's some hypothesizing that, or theorizing that there was going to be changes to how command points get generated. Nothing like that has happened. So thank goodness. We didn't get both Swarmlord and a Hive Tyrants hit at the same time. We did get datasheet changes to Adepta Sororitas. Retributors get reroll hit rolls of 1. Reroll hit and wound rolls of 1 all the time. In addition, if you've killed a Sororitas unit and they shoot you, they also get, or they turn that into +1 to hit and +1 to wound, which is cool. Doesn't have any like awkward anti-synergy with Hallowed Martyrs, but I don't know how big of a deal that is. Zephyrim squads get sustained and lethal hits every time they fight, and when they charge, they get sustained and lethal hits, which is a nice little quality of life. Champions of Faith just picks 3 units to be righteous rather than spending miracle dice on them, which is a huge update. That's an enormous upgrade. Adeptus Sororitas also basically got enormous points changes across the board in the Militarum field manual as well. So that's kind of sick. Rumor? Yeah, Rumor's good. Changes to Adeptus Mechanicus, Cybernetic cohorts. I believe that I'm actually not sure if they changed Castellan robots. I believe that they did. Yeah, they did down here. So Doctrine Imperatives got added to Castellan robots and Cybernetica Datasmiths. They then changed the Cybernetica cohort to just give +2 move and +1 OC to Legio Cybernetica rather than give them the army rule. It turns out, I think they're finally learning that spending another ability to gain an ability that everyone else gets for free is not fun or interesting or cool, and so nobody was interested in that detachment. Definitely makes you want to play those guys a lot more, because we did see a lot of Alexander Egglesloss, I think, right, was playing Adeptus Mechanicus in Cybernetica cohort, without any robots, or like, I don't need a detachment ability, fuck it, we're just playing the really cool strats in that detachment. Like, you don't want that. You want the detachment to actually do something. Aeldari, big huge changes to lethal intent. I think everyone saw this coming. It was coming a mile away. So lethal intent for Devoted of Yniad was changed to infantry or mounted units within 6 inches of a destroyed unit can make a normal move of up to D6 +1, rather than anything can move full distance anywhere on the table. It feels like it's quite a nerf, right? Because it restricts targeting and restricts range and restricts movement. That feels like maybe too many things. I don't know, but 12 inches move anywhere was kind of wild. There was basically no counterplay, and you just had to eat it most of the time. So I understand changing it, but the 3 changes back to this ability feels like quite a lot. I'm not 100% sure. Yvrain has been changed to reroll 1s instead of all wound rerolls. Do not like that change at all. I think it's okay. It's okay to give Eldar good melee units if you get specifically Yvrain specifically in melee with an enemy. There's a lot of counter moves you can do in defense, right, to defend against it, because she has to be engaging at the start of the fight phase. So if you're charging them, you just not engage her, and she doesn't do anything. There are also failure cases on the Ynnari player side, where if they charge and can't get Yvrain into melee, into engagement because of the charge movement, because she's a weird base and everything, right? Like, you charge somebody around a wall, there's a non-zero chance that the unit can engage, but Yvrain can't. Her ability doesn't do anything. It's not a leadership ability, it's just an effect. So I don't really understand nerfing this one. There's also some, kind of inconceivable points changes to Eldar. They did get a couple things points decreased, which I think is they're trying to push the other detachments a little bit more, which is nice. But yeah, I don't know. Like Archons went up. Who the fuck was playing Archons? I've never seen a Ynnari Archon on the table in my life. And they went up in points. I don't understand it. So I don't know. It feels like an over nerf. At least I don't think the points changes were like apocalyptic for the faction. But it definitely doesn't. I don't think it feels good for Eldar right now. I think we could see coming, because I think that ability was like very, very non fun to play against. But I don't know. This other stuff could have stayed around. I'm not really sure why we're nerfing Yvrain of all people. It's wild. Feels fine for Eldar. 85 points up in the meta list. Yeah. I mean, so I guess while we're on the context of Eldar, let's take a brief moment and talk about the Minotaur. We're not going to stay here too long, but I think it's worth talking about while we're kind of in this discussion. So we saw like random things go up, like 4 model Warlock conclaves. Okay, sure, you got me. Autarchs went up, which like I understand. There were a couple lists that were running like 2-3 Autarchs. Like, sure, that's fine. They're like a good beat stick that also gives you like a good leadership ability. 5-man Fire Dragons went up. Howling Banshees, I'm not sure I understand. The only time that they were really like super effective is either they were playing in Ynnari or they were playing with Autarchs. You already hit both of those things, so we don't have to also hit Howling Banshees, but it's only 5 points. The Fire Dragon change, I think, like, if you didn't see Fire Dragons getting nerfed going from a mile away, every list was 3 of them, so probably a problem there. Fire Prisms went down, Shining Spears went down, which I think isn't too bad. There's a couple lists playing Shining Spears occasionally, but they are a little bit inconsistent to play. It's just low attack volume on a big base, which you don't love. Warwalkers went down, which I think is pretty relevant because they give their a solid army support ability, so... it is certainly like a downgrade, and most lists are going to go up quite a bit, but it's not all bad. But yeah, there's some of these things I don't really understand. I guess, yeah, so like Incarn went up, sure. Ynnari Incubi went up, sure. There was a 10-man in every single Ynnari unit. 2 points per model, though? Too much. Like, the only reason they were good is because of the combination with Yvrain, so... If we're nerfing Yvrain, like, it's fine. Like, it could just be a unit. Ynnari Archon, who the fuck was playing Ynnari Archons? I don't, like, this is incomprehensible to me. So, like, it's definitely that the goal is, like, hey, let's get people to stop playing Ynnari, right? Because, like, the detachment's it's too throttling to the rest of the army. But this feels like an over nerf for the Ynnari detachment specifically. I would have loved to see some other stuff go down. I don't know where those points come from, but maybe Harlequin stuff. Like, the fact that we're not really... Like, nobody's playing Harlequin stuff, right? Besides, like, occasional Skyweavers or like a Void Weaver every once in a while. So, like, regular Harlequin troopers and things probably could have gotten a cut. I don't know. I would have liked to have seen some other changes elsewhere if we really wanted to rebalance the faction versus nerf them, because I don't think Aeldari is doing too strong right now. So this does feel like pretty bad to me. I don't know. There's been a problem since release in 8th. Yeah. I mean, it turns out in a game that has the design of Warhammer 40,000, where individual activations are really important and phasing is really important. Out of phase activations are super strong. Well, fun fact. It's just how the game works. And Ynnari have, in every edition, their design ethos has... Well, first of all, Eldar being high impact, fast, low, high unit count, low model count, is the best thing to do in 40k, right? You know, there's a reason that every unit in a Space Marine list is 5 models. That's just optimal in Warhammer 40,000. Generally speaking, because your opponent's essentially entire army gets to attack you, units that are super big don't tend to survive unless they have a lot of defensive technology built in. So if you don't have that, you always want to take smaller units and you want to trade with smaller numbers. Eldar have always done that, and Eldar have always been good. There basically hasn't been a situation in which Eldar as a faction haven't been good. And Ynnari, on top of that, also have a beneficial faction mechanic. So, like, of course they're going to be strong, right? And it's up to the balance team to kind of... Like, I'm fine with their design ethos being that they have a really functional effect on the table. I do think it does need to get balanced appropriately. I definitely don't think Lethal Intent was okay. This change, I don't know, maybe it's too far. It's maybe fine. I think it's certainly fine in the context of the rest of the detachment being mostly the same. You know, Fire Dragons go up, that's fine, whatever. But, like, I don't know why we're nerfing the Incubi and nerfing the Yvrain thing. Or, like, what are we doing here? Doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. But that's just my 2 cents about it. Let's move on, chat. Astra Militarum. Lord Solar Leontis. Little buff. Little buff for Lord Solar. He can order Titanic units again. Let's go. It's Baneblade time. That's exciting. So the only thing he can't order, I guess, is auxiliary units. But otherwise, he hits everything else in the faction. So I love it. I think it was a huge mistake to remove any ability to order big units, the big Titans, because they are so inefficient without orders on them that it's like laughable. You're rolling a bunch of 4+ ballistic skill shots into somebody. You shoot a Rhino and it smoke screens, and a Baneblade trades doesn't kill a Rhino. Like, what are we doing here? Give them +1 to hit. So yeah, I think that's perfect. Love to see it. Blood Angels, Black Rage. Well, the unit is not within 6 inches of one or more friendly Blood Angels character models, or within 12 inches of a chaplain model. So I believe that the change here, I'm gonna double check myself, is that they now can, just like Wolfen, can get a bonus from chaplains or from any of the named characters, or the characters from the army. Yeah. So previously it was you only got the benefit well within 12 inches of a chaplain model. Now, if you have a Blood Angels character, so any of the characters from the Blood Angels supplement, you will also get the effect of Black Rage. So if it's a Blood Angels captain, like the one from the Codex, if it's a Death Company captain, if it is which I guess means that Death Company captains just have it all the time, right? Which is kind of funny. If it is, Astarath, Dante, Sanguinor, all those guys will trigger it. Yeah, the Death Company captain actually just has this active constantly, permanently, which is a little silly, but there you go. So I don't know. I think that's a fun quality of life change. Blood Angels did get like hyper buffed in the Dataslate update, so I don't really know what's going on over there, but it is what it is. That's nice. Damned Legion, thank you for the membership, my guy. Appreciate that. The good old quadruple nerf, yeah. Just bury the army. Just put it into the dirt. Scintillating Legion, Pyrogenesis changed. God, I don't know what Scintillating Legion strats are. Pyrogenesis is +2 strength. Spend a flux token, add +3 strength and AP. That used to be 2 CP, now it's 1. That's actually really good. So we can get. Oh, excuse me, I got something on my chat. I apologize. We can get Lords of Change up to strength 12, AP 3, like reliably, for 1 CP and a flux token. That is relevant. That is a relevant change right there, chance. I think that is good. Does it make Scintillating Legion good? Probably not, but maybe. At least you'll be able to kill something. Like, you could kill a Rhino now. Sometimes. If it doesn't smoke and it doesn't use any other strats and you roll well, you could kill a Rhino. So that would be nice. Chaos Space Marines. Bunch of big changes to Chaos Space Marines. This was kind of a big Demon Prince update. They even added a whole detachment for Demon Princes.
Azamakazuma donated $5 through Super Chat. Sorry to interrupt, but were the rumors of no rerolls to hit in Overwatch real?
Zuma, thank you for the Super Chat. It appears that they have been overstated. There are no balanced Dataslate updates that would change how Overwatch works. There are also no commentary updates. So the core rules changes haven't been updated since November. So it seems that Overwatch has seen no changes whatsoever. But good question, because that was a rumor that was going around. Yeah, but again, no core rules changes in this update, which I don't have to relearn the game. Let's go! We can play with the rules that we played with last update. I'm excited. Yeah, which is, I guess it's okay. I mean, I would have been totally fine if Overwatch got totally, like, nuked into oblivion. I think it's obnoxious. But, whatever. It is what it is. What's up, kitty cat? Inky's here. Overwatch meta forever. So, Chaos Space Marines. Demon Princes have been given the ability, and we actually had this discussion earlier this week, and I was like laughing at myself a little bit. We were like, are they going to update Chaos Space Marines to be in line with the cult Chaos Space Marine, like, sort of design? And I was like doing timestamps for the video. I was like, that was kind of a silly tangent. Probably not. Turns out of course they did. So, Heretic Astartes Demon Princes gained, you get lone operative while you're within 3 inches. So that's the foot Demon Prince for Chaos Space Marines. I don't actually know what that guy does. If I'm honest, being honest with you. He gives stealth. He's like the demon one. That's fine. I mean, it's okay. You might play him in the new detachment. I don't know. The new detachment seems kind of neat. Lord Discordant's got a 14-inch move and a 4+ invulnerable save, which is a huge quality of life update. He now deals mortal wounds with corrupt machine spirits to a vehicle unit within 12. D3 mortal wounds on a 2-up. 3 mortal wounds on a 4-up. D3+3 on a 6. He also makes visible enemies -1, or he makes you reroll 1s to wound against a single vehicle. Is that, what was the change here? It used to not require line of sight, but now it does. So, but it's not range restricted anymore. It used to be a vehicle within 12. Now it's a vehicle in line of sight. So it's actually way easier to trigger. It's actually kind of a huge update. The downside is that it only works against vehicles. This is my problem with the Lord Discordant, to be perfectly honest. And any of these data sheets that are specific to attacking one particular unit type, especially monster versus vehicle, because like a large proportion of the game, right, doesn't have any vehicles in it. So this guy literally does nothing against them. He loses his anti-vehicle. He loses all of his abilities, and he just becomes a dude who moves fast and has like a lance with a couple of attacks. 4 strength 6 AP 2 damage attacks, like whatever. So like you can buff this dude for ages, but I think from like a meta standpoint, he's still not going to be good. And you could it almost doesn't matter what he does, because there is such a high chance of you running into a situation where he just has no abilities on his data sheet. And I think that's really problematic. I wish that this was like a haywire mine, maybe, where you select an enemy unit and on like a 4+ they take mortal wounds, but you get +2 to the roll if it's a vehicle, for example. I think that would be really cool. Yeah, I don't know. If this could affect monsters as well, I think it would be highly playable. But it's something that Games Workshop doesn't want to get away from, because it's thematic, right? That he's taking over your machines because he's Dark Mechanicus guy. So it wouldn't make sense that he could take over Carnifex. But like on the tabletop, like when you're constructing a list and you don't know what your opponent is, Lord of Discord does not be good. If you know you're going to play against Chaos or Imperial Knights or something, he's going to be great, but in other situations, it's not that good. So I don't know. It is what it is. Jean-Marc with the gifted subs. Whoa, 5 subs. Congratulations to everybody. Necromancer Goblin, Sreyosa, Rio, Hebcack Central, Noisy Noise Boy. Oh, I have some bad news for you, Noisy Noise Boy. Congratulations on your channel memberships. Jean-Marc, thank you so much for the donations. I appreciate that, man. Helps keep the channel going. All right, let's talk about Vashtor. Vashtor now gets Lone Operator. He gets the Tech Marine ability. He has Lone Operator as well. He's within 3 inches of a demon vehicle, so Forge Friend or whatever, which is great. He also can give enemies -1 to hit and hazardous. What his previous version of that ability was just hazardous. It was previously just hazardous. Oh, when they targeted. But now, yeah, it's still targeting, but now it just also gives -1 to hit. Oh, it also, so the -1 to work, the -1 to hit actually works in melee too. So he's -1 to hit in melee and gives ranged weapons hazardous. So he's way harder to deal with, right? Situational lone operative, and he's -1 to be hit in melee. That's crazy. And also, or -1 to be hit all the time, right? Which is just phenomenal. That's super good. I guess the speaking of the Lord of Discord, the Impaler Chainglaive did go up. I missed this little section here. It went up to Strength 8 AP 3 damage. It's not Strength 6 AP 2 damage, which is like laughable. So at least he does have a real weapon now, which is good. Vashtor's hammer got devastating wounds on its sweep profile. It's actually kind of crazy. It's 12 attacks, anti-vehicle 4 sweep, or devastating. Is there a universe? Is it? I wonder what the math is. Someone who knows math, is it better to just sweep into vehicles? Because if you pact or sustain, you should convert all your attacks just about, right? So it's 12 hits. You're averaging, with no buffs, 12 damage, right? 6 4-ups, 4 mortals, versus the strike, which should only do like 9. So I think it's just better to sweep into vehicles. What? That's crazy. Yeah, just always sweep vehicles. That's insane. Unholy Mechanisms adds +2 to strength characteristic of weapons as well. So it buffs all your demon vehicle range attacks too. So he can like sit inside a boat of Forge Fiends or whatever, or Mauler Fiends in melee, and gives him +2 strength and everything. So, ooh, Vashtor, man. They're really pushing this like Dark Mechanicum thing, huh? Vashtor and Lord Discordance get this huge glow up. That's really cool. You love to see it. You also get some regular wounds against vehicles. Do you? Oh, if you strike. Oh, because you're winning on 3s, yeah. So it's probably you force 1 save and then do mortals. But on average, like the 1 save is slightly worse than just like guaranteeing that you get like 4 more mortals, basically. Because they can save against that. That's wild. You give this guy like reroll once to wound, he goes insane, right? Man, Vashtor, what a Chad. Jesus. I guess monsters you always strike, right? So it's only against vehicles that this is relevant. Which is kind of neat. He's just like, I imagine like he like swings the hammer around and he's got the claw on the back and he just like pulls all the rivets out of your vehicle really quickly. That's his sweep profile. And then all the armor panels fall off your rhino. Good stuff. Some question about the Tyranid Detachment. We will talk about the Tyranid Detachment in a bit here, chat. The new Tyranid Detachment looks fucking nuts. Or I don't know if it looks nuts, but it looks wild. I'm kind of vibing it. I don't know. Lionel Johnson can up, B, down into Strat Reserve with all secrets revealed. That used to be his command point manipulation thing, which was a little paragraph of text, and now he just can go into Strat Reserve. Oh, it's in your command phase, though. Wait, what the fuck? This is insane. Wait, hold up. So he chooses his Primarch ability in your command phase. So he can, instead of doing 4+ feel no pain against mortals or +1 to hit within 6, he can just up down immediately. And then he places in that, assuming it's not the first turn. Oh no, he can do this in turn 1. He then just places on turn 1. He just replaces himself in the reinforcement step immediately. So you can, like, I'll just deploy Lionel Johnson turn 1. I have an infiltrating combi weapon lieutenant in the middle of the table. Top of 1, you just bounce Lion to the center and he's low knocked. That's fucking sick, dude. What? That's so cool. George, thank you for the early access membership. I appreciate that too. Dude, that's sick. Like, he's also just like the world's greatest utility unit. He literally umbralific crystals every turn. Like, what? That's incredible. This guy is so cool. I want to play Lion now. What the fuck? Martial Exemplar, so his +1 to hit thing turned into reroll 1s to hit and wound. That's fine. Emperor's Shield turns into a transhuman effect, so if your strength characteristic is greater than his toughness, and he's only toughness 8, right? Or toughness 9, yeah. So big stuff will bounce up against this. Then he'll get -1 to be wounded. That's pretty good. He lost his like saving throws reflect mortals, which is whatever. So that's good. That's an upgrade. It also works on every attack. It's not just melee attacks as well. Whereas previously he used to only reflect melee attacks to people, so that's a big bonus. Sick. Looking good. That's sick. Moving over to Drukhari, Reaper's Wager has been buffed. It now permanently grants reroll hit rolls of 1. By the way, they love this effect. They've given this to so many things right now. Just reroll. The quote-unquote addition of less rerolls. Turns out Games Workshop realizes that their attack system is so bad that the only way it's fun is that you get to reroll your hit rolls. So basically, like, every detachment that they have released now gives you reroll hit rolls of 1. What a shocker. Incredible. You also get wound rerolls of 1 if you are losing the wager. So there is a legitimate reason to play only Drukhari Reaper's Wager. I wish I played that dumb Homunculus Coven game like now, because that list actually would have been significantly better. Lion turn 1, yeah. Imagine just like getting charged by the Lion on the first turn. He's just like, I'll boss a 9, and then just hits you in your deployment zone. You're like, wait, excuse me? What the fuck? I also, like, there's probably going to be situations too where if you don't screen your backline, like, he's just deploying teleport homers and stuff, right? Because you get to see all your cards and stuff before he decides what to do. So there are going to be situations where you can just be like, you don't have any way to get to, like, your ruin in your back corner. Like, he's going to go get behind enemy lines or whatever. Like, obviously, you want to be attacking with him because his melee profile is really good. But in some cases, he's just going to bounce around the table and score all your points, right? And if he just does that for 5 rounds, he's almost certainly made his points back. Dude, Lion looks amazing now. Jesus. It definitely showcases the fact that they wanted to move away from the just Ultramarines for Space Marines, right? Like, they're trying so hard to buff at least the other non-compliant factions. It does feel like the compliant chapters are a little bit underpowered, but that's fine. Lying on the home objective. What are you going to do, bud? Your move. So big buffs for Reapers, Wager. Genestealer cults looks like have gotten some buffs to Resurgence points for small units. Minimum size Pure Strain Genestealers and Atalan Jackals now cost 2 Resurgence points to regenerate rather than, I believe 3 is what they used to cost, right? So that's a big deal. You love to see it. Nice little quality of life change there for Genestealer cults. They're going to be able to get potentially five models back over the course of the game, which is pretty sweet, right? That's like almost 400 points of value if you're regenerating like 70 or 80 point units over the course of a game and you don't regenerate any big ones. Warpaint Task Force. I don't think this functionally changes anything. I think we talked about this when they originally made this change. They changed it to target a visible target, which meant that technically, if you couldn't see a model you were in melee with, like you were fighting through a wall, you didn't get the Warpaint Task Force ability. So they had to specify that a part of it only affects ranged attacks. Not an actual functional change, but a little baby one. They're expecting to do Codex soon, so I imagine that we're not going to see a ton to them. Some datasheet changes for Leagues of Votann. It's so this is so funny because just 2 weeks ago we had a super long discussion about how Pants on Head the interactions between Brokir, Grimnir, and especially the Hecatan Land Fortress was, because their character units are multi-model characters and are typically between 3 and 5 models, which means that in basically no circumstances can you attach them to a unit and then embark that unit into a transport. And there was just no conceit in the transport rules or the transport size for those vehicles to allow these units to embark. Now their ECOGs don't count. So let's see. The Brokir Ironmaster, I believe his Ironkin assistant will. So he has 3 ECOGs and 1 Ironkin assistant. So the Brokir Ironmaster has a unit size of 2. So if he's attaching to a 3-man Thunderkin unit, he can embark into a Hecatan Land Fortress. He still can't attach to anything and embark into a Sagittor. But I don't know how often you're attaching this guy anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Into like Hearthkid Warriors or some shit. Grimnirs now are just have a transport, embarkation size of 1 because they don't count their 2 little corvs. So you can attach him alongside 5 dudes into a Sagittor. You can attach him alongside 10 dudes into a Hecatan Land Fortress. Enormous. Sometimes I think Games Workshop watches my live streams occasionally because we often talk about stuff like this and then they get changed. But I also think that we do just tend to talk about things that are generally stupid in the game, and so I don't think we can take credit for any of that stuff. But obviously, it was a huge discussion that we had recently, and I'm really, really glad it changed because that was real stupid. That felt so poor, so underbaked, such a poor development the choice here. ECOG's now mag-locking on the outside of the vehicle. It'd be cool if they could shoot while they were in there. You just stick them on top. Boop. There's like a rack. You just strap them down to the cargo rack on the top of the Sagittor, and they're firing their guns. We can take credit? All right, chat. We'll take full credit. Yeah, it is funny that we had just talked about... You had just had this discussion recently on the show, so that's incredible. Let's see. Cult of Speed can now advance and charge if you're a Speed Freak unit. Big update. So you're just like you're sort of a permanent pseudo wog for all your bikers and stuff. It's kind of a nice little change for these guys. But hopefully try to pull them away from just like mass tank bust out mass like Beast Naga boys that the faction's kind of like resolved into. So if we see some points changes for the biker stuff, we could see a change for orcs because those data sheets are actually unironically not bad. Tank Bustas, Breakaboys, Commandos, and Squig Hogs all got this change. Previously, it was only applied to Tank Bustas, so it was kind of like a weird miss. They could actually, you could release multiple Bomb Squigs with every other unit because they just forgot that they had them, but that's been updated, so that's nice. Spec Marines. Changes to Ultramarines. Marneus Calgar must be a warlord and be on the battlefield for you to gain CP, which means that if you take him with Guilliman, he does not generate command points because Guilliman, if I remember correctly, must be your warlord because I think all the Primarchs have to. Yes, he must be your warlord. So you cannot both have Guilliman and gain CP from Marneus Calgar. I think that was like coming a mile away. They did also nerf Guilliman. I don't know if that goes too far, but it's a deserved change for sure. But I will preface all of this by saying that Space Marines got massive points cuts, so mechanical.
Ryan G donated $2 through Super Chat. Def Copters are also mounted.
Def Copters. Are Def Copters speed freaks though? Probably, right? Yeah, they are. Let's go. Yeah, those units are crazy because they're T6 4 wounds. So you look at them and you're like, all right, it's an orc biker. But then they just live a bunch. And you're like, please stop. Please die. But it's actually very difficult to get rid of them. Plus, they're shooting rocket launches at you. So, yeah, that unit's going to be pretty good. 30 points a model for a 4 wound dude with a rocket launcher. Not their melee attack's bad, but it's okay. Good for engaging stuff for sure. Yep. So Marneus Calgar nerfed. Can't generate CP if he's not your warlord. Robo Booty Gillyman changed his supreme strategist to once per battle round. So here's the thing that kind of gets me about this. In my opinion, maybe this is cope, but Supreme Strategist was not the problem with this unit. It was the double oath. And the fact that you could both do Supreme... The fact that they had changed it so that you could do 2 Author of the Codex abilities at the same time, right? Because they changed Oath to be phenomenally more powerful and then gave Ultramarines 2 of them. Ultramarines already had all of the CP stuff.
PJX donated $5 through Super Chat. Space Marine or Terran Marine, StarCraft, to their top weapon and builds, who'll win?
I actually watched a YouTube short on this like ages ago, and I don't know why it stuck with me, but a guy was like really breaking down super hard like the differences between them, and like a Space Marine is like technologically and like physiologically like so much more powerful than a Terran Marine. But they talked about how the Terran Marine's like firearm is like basically a vehicle mounted weapon, and that it like you know in terms of like terminal ballistics could potentially knock out a Space Marine. So I would say the edge probably goes to a Space Marine, but it is close. If that dude gets shot, it's not gonna go well for him. I think was the gist of that video. But yeah, Space Marine. Most of the funny thing about 40k and the funny thing about like power scaling and all that shit, which it personally I think is like very silly. This is all fiction that people make up, so like comparing it doesn't really matter. But space, like anything in Warhammer 40,000 is like usually like so far overscaled over other like similar universes that like they just like win all the time. It's the Warhammer 40,000 is purposefully oversized to a ludicrous degree, to the point that like, oh, who would win, Master Chief or Space Marines? And you're like, oh, it's Space Marines every time according to the canon, because they're like invincible. Because they have to fight like, you know, building sized demons all the time. So it's I don't know, it's silly, but I thought that the discussion about talking about like the physicality of the weaponry that they're using was really interesting. So that's my opinion. Terran put it in a cigar smoke off. That's true. The Space Marines like physiologically immune to tobacco, but the the Terran like smokes him under the table anyway. He's hotboxing inside the power armor. Doom guy would do well. Yeah, Doom guy like basically is just a space marine, right? He is canonically too, right? Because he's like some sort of empowered demigod. Of course, the gun is going to shoot down battle cruisers. Yeah, you've seen fucking Protoss carriers go down to those guys. Like 12 Marines kills an entire interstellar spaceship by shooting at it for 5 seconds. All they got to do is pump some adrenaline. They'll kill anything in the universe. Oh, man. Good stuff. All right. Let's move on to Tau. Tau, we were asking for Tau to get reworked. Holy shit, did they come through. So, for the greater good, the ability for you to guide for units and then give them +1 to hit, potentially ignore cover, all that stuff, entirely reworded. Discard everything you knew about this mechanic previously. Now it's new.
PJX donated $5 through Super
PJX,
Chat.
thank you for the Super Chat.
Do you know this? Into the fire of battle, into the anvil of war. Iron of will, steel of muscles, forged in the furnace of war.
Brother. Fuck yeah, I know. Let's go. Thank you again for the Super Chats. So, new for the greater good. Your units can become observer units during your shooting phase, or at the start of your shooting phase. Each observer unit that's eligible to shoot, that's non-battle shocked, selects an enemy visible unit to be marked. If you have not observed while you are targeting any spotted units that the observers have declared, then you get the bonuses. So +1 ballistic skill characteristic, and you would get ignore cover if your target has a marker light. So this how it works is you go at the start of your shooting phase, you go, my stealth battle suits are going to target that unit. My pathfinders are going to target these units. And then you move on from there. The stealth battle suits and the pathfinders, just like normal, wouldn't get the observer bonuses at all from anyone. However, the rest of your entire army gets that ability when targeting those units that you've spotted. So you don't have to declare spotting for individual attackers anymore. You just declare a spotted target and everyone gets the benefits. So that's enormous. It's such a huge quality of life change. It makes tracking easier. It's going to make cognitive load easier. I think it's great. I think that there might be some instances in which it defeats reactive effects because, like, previously if something reactive moved in response to shooting, like Star Shatter Arsenal, it got out of line of sight of your observers, then you couldn't observe for it anymore. But this doesn't require you to remain in line of sight. It just requires you to have line of sight at the start. It does mean that you can't. Yeah, it used to trigger when you selected the attacking, the guided unit to shoot. Now you don't need to do that. So there's some instances where, like, if you kill a transport and then the guys inside disembark, then you can't spot the models bailing out. So it's not like a pure upside, but there's also some situations in which if your opponent has the ability to reposition during your shooting phase, like Blood Surge moves, they can't escape your observation because you've already declared them as a spotted target. So, like, it changes the core mechanic, like, quite a bit, which is really interesting. It's so much faster, yeah. Yeah, what's going to be cool is, like, you can use spotted tokens, and you just have 2, and you go, like, I have an observer and a spotted token, and I just go, observer here, spotted on you, and then you're done, right? And then you just be like, now I know this guy doesn't get the bonus, but the rest of my army will get the bonus against that target. This is such a huge upgrade to this ability from like every angle, right? It's going to be easier to play, it's going to be easier to resolve, and it's more powerful. It also they removed the part where you reduce ballistic skill if you split fire, so that's entirely gone as well because the entire rule's been changed. So all the previous rules text is gone. Another thing we were talking about recently, that was just such a dumb rule. You really don't want these beneficial army abilities to have these like glaring downsides in them. And that was it was weird because Tau has more recently been getting these larger and larger units with more multifunctional guns. So like you looking at like a Storm Surge that has big anti-tank weapons and then a breadth of smaller anti-infantry weapons, and previously you had to choose which way you were going to do. Do I want to shoot infantry and be good against them, or do I want to shoot a tank and then have all my anti-infantry guns go wild because they're all going to be fucking hitting on 5s? But now you could spot an infantry unit and the tank, split fire, and get the benefit against both. Huge. Absolutely huge. It makes the bigger units better. It makes the larger multi-size units better. It makes it necessitates that you take less dedicated spotting units. Not that you won't still take like 3 units of stealth battle suits because they're phenomenal, but you don't necessarily need to have a stealth battle suit unit stapled to the butt of every tank, because now all you need is one to marker light for something, and then everyone else is going to get the bonus. So this is enormous. This is a huge change. Battlesuits can split fire. Finally, yeah. It was especially weird when they're like, when they start restricting weapon options on battlesuits, and then it's like you have to take 2 different weapons, but if you ever shoot at different targets, you get fucked. And you're like, why? So why do I have to take a plasma gun and a flamethrower? I'm never going to shoot those at the same target. That's a little bit less important now that the data sheets have been reworked, but it was weird for a while when they were like really trying to necessitate that you take like split weapons inside your units. Bizarre. So Kauyon, Kauyon has lost its sustained hits too, but it ignores all ballistic skill, characteristic, and hit roll modifiers when you are guided. That's a big downgrade. I mean, ignoring ballistic skill and modifier and hit roll modifiers is good, but honestly, like a lot of stuff has that anyway because it has weapon support systems. So, Kauyon, get wrecked, I guess. I don't know. Maybe are we Mont cop people now? A lot of this has just been changed so that it works with the new wording of the army abilities, so that's good. Firesight team, gets reworded to work with the army ability. Pathfinder teams get their own spotted bonus when targeting their spotted unit. That's cool. That actually, did they used to do that, or is this a new thing? Because Pathfinder teams are weird because they're a dedicated observer unit, but they have so many heavy weapons. No, so they've lost their ability to spot twice, which I think is probably fair. But when they target the same thing that they spotted, they actually get way better. So Pathfinders are basically just like a baseline +1 ballistic skill now. But they got 3 heavy weapons in there, or potentially up to 4 heavy weapons in their unit, right? Because they get a grenade launcher plus 3 ion or rail rifles. Plus they can have two weapon-equipped drones as well. And the fact that they were just never benefiting from spotted abilities were, like, stupid. I guess the one thing that they can't do is benefit from, like, guided synergies. So they don't get, like, the Mont Ka or the Kauyon ignore ballistic skill modifier ability if they target their observer unit, because they are not guided. They just get an identical effect to being guided, which I guess is the only sort of difference there. As giving rerolls instead of getting rerolls, that would be insane. I mean, that would be Tetris, right? That would just be Tetras. But I think Tetras would super not be okay with this version of the ability. Tetras giving reroll hits to one thing was very good. Tetras giving reroll hits to your whole army would have been fucking wild. Probably too strong. And then, yeah, change to Zealous Battlesuit so they can work with the new wording. Big update for Tau. So Kalyan feels, I guess, like it's going to be better just because the army rolls better, but kind of a side grade for them. The other detachments, I bet, are looking quite a bit nicer. And we'll talk about points for them momentarily, too. Tau, let's go. All right, Tyranids. Tyranids looks like the last faction we have to talk about here. And we have some sad news for fans of the Hive Tyrant, which includes myself. His ability has been changed to work once per battle round, not once per turn. Sound the funeral dirge, chat. You get significantly less CP. So the only way that the regular Hive Tyrant is better than Swarmlord now is that you can ditch cards to gain command points. You can gain command points in other ways, in addition to just the Hive Tyrant, in addition to your ability for it. But otherwise, if you aren't expecting to gain CP over the course of the game, the Swarmlord, at least in terms of this synergy, is strictly better than the Hive Tyrant. Because his ability gives you a CP, doesn't require you to use it on stratagems, doesn't require a range. He'll just give you the CP per battle round. Because you could still take both, but yeah, that's a huge change. I mean, Tyranids, I don't want to say we're doing bad or we're doing badly. They were doing well, but it didn't seem to me like they were doing well enough to merit a big nerf like this, and this is a big nerf. So, ripperonis, folks. Psychophage has been totally reworked. Now, I'm gonna fact check myself on this, but now I believe it no longer gives you a feel no pain. Correct. It no longer has its feel no pain aura. It got +4. They wanted to make it like a fighty guy. It's kind of weird. It got +4 inches of movement, so it moves 12 inches now. Could have done that to our fucking Screamer Killer, but we're going to do it to a Psychophage, I guess. It gained the smoke keyword, which is cute, because it's got the smoky smokestacks on the back. And now, when it shoots someone with its flamer, then your melee attacks gain +1 AP targeting that unit. So, they recognize that they printed Tyranids with dog shit melee characteristics for a primarily melee army. They decided to print them with super trash melee profiles across the board. So in order to fix that, they have to go back and add all of these weird separate abilities that will improve them. So now we have +1 strength if you're within range of Synapse, and you get +1 AP if you've been shot by a Psychophage already. So okay, could just give them better melee profiles, I guess. In addition, the Psychophage also went up in points as well. I believe it went up 30. I think it's 125 now. So and also I kind of, does this just kill Assimilation Swarm super dead? Is it is that detachment just dead now? Your Psychophages cost 30 more and don't give feel no pains to your heavy infantry. So, it's just significantly worse. I don't know. They also gained a higher base attack volume. They used to be D6 +1 attacks. Now they're flat 6, which is much better. They're also AP2 instead of AP1. So they could maybe kill a Space Marine sometime instead of doing literally nothing ever. This is such a flabbergasting change to me. I think they're trying to push Tyranids to be more aggressive melee, and we'll talk about their new detachment in a little bit here, because that's also a very kind of aggressive melee detachment. But it's weird that this is the avenue they chose to do that in. And it's not like this was a bad unit that didn't have a place. Being part of the... Did it change my stupid Tyranid video too? Because they changed those Psychophages. God damn it. My How to Play Tyranid video talks about like how to position psychophages to get their benefit from them, but they don't do that anymore, so I have to re-record it. I don't wanna. I don't know. It's very weird. I don't dislike this change. Like I do dislike the change. I don't think it's a bad change, but I don't really understand the desire to take a functional unit and then totally rewrite it. Like, it's like, why are we doing this with a psychophage and not a fucking, the guy I forgot, the Toxicrene? Why don't Toxicrenes do this? That is a unit that has literally no function. It's just a piece of shit. And it's also like, it's not off theme for it to be debuffing your opponent, because that's like literally its whole deal. So, like, did they forget that they had that unit available? Like, why are we doing this to Psychophage? I don't get it, chat. If you gave Toxicrenes +1 AP on when they lash you, they make their lash range 12, and you get +1 AP when a Toxicrene's lashed you. And they improve Toxicrene melee AP. So if it shoots you and then charges, it's AP 3 and has like a mortal wound effect. Like, we're cooking, right? Like, that unit's unironically good. They also give it smoke because it's supposed to be belching spores everywhere. But like, nah, we did it to the Psychophage, a unit that people played to buff their monster bricks, like, defensively. So like, it's like weird. It's just weird. I don't understand. I don't get it. But I mean, it's not a bad ability. Like, shooting something in and making all your stuff in melee better, that's like good. That's a good thing to do. Just why did it have to be a Psychophage? I don't know, chat. They found a bunch of Psychophages in a warehouse. Yeah. Screamer Killer. Yeah, the Screamer Killer could have had that buff. Like, the Screamer Killer buff is good. The Screamer Killer is just like a non-functional model. Whoever wrote the datasheet like hadn't like played 40k since like, 1984, because I don't think they functionally understood how a move 8 like 100 mil functions. Like, that model is just like it can't do anything. But like, the Screamer Killer is not a bad ability, but you push Screamer Killers to move 12, and I think that unit's like actually good. And if you give them an additional effect on their gun, like, we'd be cooking with gas. Or you do it to the Toxicrene. Like, I don't understand why it had to be Psychophage. I just don't get it.
Redonated $4.99 through Super Chat. The reason why the Toxicrene isn't going to be good is because the model is so awkward to put on the table.
You're not wrong. Thank you for the Super Chat. Yeah, I mean, you definitely are not wrong. Just model for advantage. Or GW, maybe we can make it so that parts extending over the fucking base don't count for line of sight or movement, and suddenly we play like a functional game, like literally like how literally every other game works, and then this model's actually functional. But no, we'll never do that. I seem to have lost all my pictures of the Toxicrene. That would be too easy. We have to make it awkward and annoying to play with. But you don't understand what I'm saying, right, chat? Like, the Psychophage was a widely played unit. It wasn't played in every list, but it was played in, I would say, 30% of competitive Tyranid armies. If you wanted to do like weird horde mode stuff with Termagants, you often played a Psychophage to buff the Termagant units. If you played Crusher Stampede bricks or Assimilation Swarm, Psychophages were kind of core to the game plan. So that's like the perfect place for a unit to sit, right? And I understand, like, we want to push their points up a little bit and make them more functional in melee, so it doesn't feel like a waste of time to roll their melee attacks. Yeah, okay, sure, but I don't understand why we're rebuilding them into this, like, from a defensive support unit to this aggressive melee like synergy. There's also some weird, for the most part, the Psychophages. There is weird anti-synergy here, in that in order to get the +1 AP buff, you are shooting them with a flamer, right? and you're typically only going to do that. It's a strength 6 AP 1 torrent. Ignore cover. So if you're shooting it at a heavy vehicle or something, which is where you want the AP buff, it's not going to do anything. So you are essentially ignoring the effect of your gun entirely to get this AP buff. But you're most likely not going to do it into most infantry units because you have a not unreasonable chance to pull yourself out of a charge. It's part of the problems with buffing melee attacks with shooting attacks because your opponent will just pull casualties. So if you go like, oh, I'm going to shoot this guardsman squad for +1 AP to get around, take cover, and then you kill 4 dudes, and suddenly your charge is like 3 inches longer, and now you might not get the benefit at all. So there's like, it's like a weird place to put this effect. But like for the most part, there's like a land raider in the middle of the table that Tyranids otherwise just like, if they don't convert their rupture cannon shots, they just cry and like have a seizure and then lose the game. And the Psychophage is going to wander up and shoot that, and then you're going to put like a bunch of warriors or something into it and blow it up. So I mean that's mostly the functional place for it. But then you're spending 125 points for a unit that's just like going to buff you in like one specific situation. So I feel like I'm talking myself down. I think this might actually be a downgrade. I'm like, hold up, do I hate this actually? I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's whatever. It is what it is. I'm gonna verify my yeah, Psychophage. Oh, he went to 110. Excuse me. He went up 15, not 20. He went up to 110. 110 does feel a lot better than 120, but that's still a little funky. With the updated melee profile, because he can buff himself with his ranged attack, so he's like basically AP3 all the time, right? Then he would be probably too good at the previous 95 points, but it does feel bad that he went up in cost. I don't know, chat. I don't know. I mean, I'm interested to hear what people feel, how people feel about it, because I think this change is rude. I'm not sure I like it. That is all of the changes inside the Dataslate update. Did I see the message about after the 5 gifted? I did not. I did not see your message. I'm sorry. Red equals nerf? No, red equals change, chat. Red equals change. It doesn't equal nerf. On the points, it equals nerf, but on the Dataslate, it's just changed text. Yeah, not on rules changes. Did you talk about Tyranid synapse changes? There were no changes to synapse. I don't know what you're talking about there, Chip. What should we move into next? So we have new detachments to talk about. I think we should talk about chapter approved, or not chapter approved. Militarum field manual. I think we will do a very quick run through of the field manual, and we will get a gist of the new points levels before we talk about new detachments and stuff. Your phone got wet and decided to gift 5 subs? Is that real? So you'd say you prefer not to give me any subs? I understand. I see how it is. Thanks, chat. Thanks, phone. You're the best, phone. Maybe I have it hacked. I've got it in there. All right. Point changes. Let's go. Adeptus Sororitas. Basically down across the board. Castigator down 10. Paragon Warsuits down 10. Repentia Squads down 10 for regardless of the unit size, which is a little bit strange. Retributor Squad down 10. Seraphim Squad down 5 for minimum, 10 for a large unit, so 1 point per model. Triumph of St. Catherine down 15. Love to see it. So most lists are going down 2 to 3 Castigators, 1 to 2 Immolators, right? So between 30 and 50 points. Probably Junith, so 60. Certainly Paragons, so like 70. And then sometimes, if you're playing Champions of Faith, which it feels like you are because you just got buffed, so fucking okay. Then you're probably playing 2 Repentia squads. So you went down close to 100 points. Phenomenal. Yeah, that's just huge quality of life. Plus, they got some improved mechanics too. I think that's going to be great. Big ups for Adeptus Sororitas right here. Between the 2 Dataslate updates, Adeptus Sororitas feels like they're back into a pretty reasonable state. I don't want to say I don't think the faction's like overpowered or anything. I do think that it's just strong now. It seems fine, which I think is a good place for them to stand. So I think Seraphim and Zephyrim get spammed in Angelic Host. I don't think so. Like sustained lethal is fine, but like the baseline profiles aren't that great. They are good as utility, and they are good. They're good to like buff the gun lines, which is usually what you see in the jump pack detachment. They buff the big tanks with their auras, which we may see because the tanks are getting cheaper. So we may see that a little bit more, and we have theoretically some more access to miracle dice. But I don't know if you take all 60 jump pack models or whatever, 63 jump pack or 66 jump pack models you could take. Like I don't know if I would give that much credence. Adeptus Custodes. Alaris Custodians went down, which is a little interesting to me because like Alaris Custodians basically always see play in Lines of the Emperor, so them going down is kind of sweet. But they went down from 65 points per bottle to 60. Does feel good though. It's a nice little change for Custodes there. Adeptus Mechanicus, Iron Strider Bellashari down 5 points per bottle. Scorpius Disintegrator down 10. That's a big one, because those guys are usually played in 2s or 3s in almost every list, so that's just going to be free points for Admech players. Halo Scream Battleclade got a little bit of a points cut on Transorancular Dyad Wafers. That's the one that lets you buff Castellan robots. They're really pushing Castellan robots, man. Not enough to give them a points cut, but they're doing their best. That is... It gives Halo Override and Doctrina Imperatives, yeah. So it doesn't. You don't need it to gain Doctrina Imperatives anymore, so they gave it a points cut, which is nice. Sidonian Dragoons down 5 as well. So sick. All right. Cool. On the Taser Lance version, Radium Giselle units are already 55 per model, so we can still take 6 Sidonian Dragoons for not super expensive. Unfortunately, huge travesty here. Who was in charge of balance at Games Workshop missed a huge opportunity. Adeptus Titanicus, no changes. Come on, man. This is the worst faction in the game. Why can't we get some buffs? What are we doing? Terrible. Put my Warhound Titan down to 1,005, so we could take. We still can't take 2. 1,001 points. Give me that. Aeldari. We talked about the Aeldari changes already, so I won't spend too much time here. Autark up, Fire Dragons up, Warlock Conclave. I don't understand, but it is what it is. They went up. Shining Spears and Warwalkers and Fire Prisms went down. Howling Banshees up. Huge nerfs to Ynnari for some reason, but it's a fucking Archon. The Archon went up by 10. I don't even know what the Ynnari Archon does because I've literally never seen it on the table. He gives you reroll wound rolls of 1 and full reroll wounds if you're below starting strength. That's pretty good. But most of the time you're going to hop out of a transport and then stab someone. So like it's just reroll wound rolls of 1 most of the time. And then he has Rise of Battle. But you'd... were they like, oh, if we nerf Yvrain, then people will just take the Archon? This is for sure what happened. They said Yvrain's too widely played, so we have to nerf her. And then they realized, oh shit, if we nerf Yvrain, the Ynnari Archon is an almost strictly better version of Yvrain. We have to nerf the Archon too. Come on, man. Yvrain's 100 points. I mean, she does have a devastating melee attack, but if she's not rerolling all her wound rolls, the devastating's not that big, so... I don't know, man. it's like... Doesn't make sense to me, dude. All Eldar should be more points. Get him. Seen him on the table a single time. Yeah. Wild. It's wild, dude. Absolutely wild. Astra Militarum. Torox is up, which I think everyone saw coming. That the unit was all over the place. Ursula Creed up 20, which feels like a lot, but they are. I think it definitely feels like they're trying to lessen the amount of free command points hanging around. So I think that kind of tracks. Bullgren squad's down. Interestingly, so Death Corps are up for the big unit. If you're taking 20s, they're up 15 points. They're still 65 if you take the smaller units. Leman Russ battle tanks up 10 because they were basically in every list, one or two of them. Tempestus Aquilons went down. Bullgren squads went down, which is interesting. And interestingly, Death Riders are down to 60. Now, what does that put them in comparison to Attilan Rough Riders? They're the same cost as Rough Riders, but you just play the Rough Riders, right? I think Death Riders would have to be less. It's interesting to me that Rough Riders base move 12. They are. So Death Riders are slower and hit worse in melee. They just get they just have a reactive move. So I still don't see why you would play them over Rough Riders. I think that you have to pump Rough Riders 5 points maybe, because they're basically in triplicate in every list now. But I also I don't think it's a huge deal. I don't think the unit's broken. I think they're just super useful. Just a really, really strong unit for 60. So the standard lists are gonna get hurt a little bit. You're losing 20 off Ursula. You're probably losing between 15 and 30 on Death Corps. So it's almost 50, 60, 80-ish points. Which feels pretty hard hit, but I do think Astra Militarum are at they're underrepresented in the metagame right now, but the faction is actually really strong. But I think people are just sleeping on it a little bit. It kind of has a lot of that problem where a lot of people are just bringing a bunch of tanks or whatever and not playing the good stuff, which is Torox rushes and these mass OC units. But we watched it play at over the course of DreamHack. It was really good. We're probably going to be watching it this week at some point because the T5SU GT finals will have Militarum in it, and we'll see exactly how good Militarum can be because it is really strong. Death Rider is better for a flank threat due to reactive move versus a charging unit. Well, I think the reactive move makes them a more reliable utility unit because you can use the reactive move to protect them if you're pushing the middle. But the problem is that they're slower than Rough Riders. So, and they're still the relatively the big awkward oval base. So they don't go through walls. They take up a lot of real estate behind in line of sight blocking elements. They basically eat in order to complete actions for the most part because they have to go around terrain features in order to get to objectives to do utility stuff. Once they're there and your opponent comes up and tries to kill them, you can reactive move. You can keep some of the models safe. It's probably okay, but part of the weird thing is that they the fact that they're slower is kind of a big deal. I think if they were the same speed as Rough Riders, I would understand it, but the fact that they're slower is pretty wild. They're slower, don't have Melta lances, so they don't punch into armor at all. There's more higher volume attacks, which is, I don't know, it is what it is. Guard's biggest debuff is his IRL cost, yeah. 3D printing. Black Templars, a couple of nice little changes here. Grimaldus down, Helbrecht down, Neophytes down for the big unit. Sword Brethren down. Fucking holy shit. 3 points per model. Damn, son. The big squad's down 30. That's quite a bit. Whoa. All right. It feels like this. What it was do I have the last Dataslate saved? I don't know if I do. Because, Let's see if I have it downloaded. I have I have January 24. No, that's not right. I should have it somewhere. Because they like not I don't want to say recently, but like it feels like they made almost these exact changes up at one point, and everyone was kind of like, "What?" I think it was like October last year, and everyone was kind of went like, "Excuse me," and I have June last year saved. We see Black Templars. Eldar, Agents, Militarum, Black Templars. No, that was when they changed the Reapers and stuff. But yeah, I remember very specifically they upcosted all of the characters at one point, and the big Primaris Crusader squad, and it feels like they're just reverting all that, which is funny. But I don't know, that's nice. Good for them. Blood Angels, huge points cuts. Astrath down, which is probably good because nobody plays that guy. Ball Predator down, also probably good because that guy, he kind of fell off quite a bit more recently. Chief Librarian Mephiston down 15 kind of blows my mind because he's basically in every list. So 120 for a 4+ feel no pain, like 2+, 5+, 4+ feel no pain character with like a trillion special rules and a good gun and a good melee attack is kind of nuts. So we love to see that. Commander Dante down to 120 is probably fine. Death Company Dreadnought down 20 is I think still fine. DC Dreadnought's okay. Problem is like I don't know, the Brutalis Dreadnought chassis is just like so awkwardly like weird that it's not a good baseline, but at least he is better than the regular Brutalis because he has all his rerolls baked in. Death Company Jump Pack Marines down 10. Lamarti's down 10. Sanguinary Guard down 20. Fucking holy shit. 110 for 3 Sanguinary Guard? Are you kidding me? You get like 12. It's 12 sword attacks or what do they have? It's either 9 lance attacks or 12 sword attacks. For 120 on a move 12 unit with a 2+, 4+. All right. I'll take 3, thank you. Sanguinary Priest down. That guy was 90 points, really? Why? He just gives +1 AP to foot units and a 5+ field up pain. I guess he has 2 leadership abilities, which is good. But he definitely was paying for the sins of the index, where like jump pack Sanguinary Priests, you just took 3 of them all the time. He was fucking 90 points. That's insane. That makes sense. But I don't know. We could see maybe like Assault Intercessors. Can we dual attach this guy? No. Okay. Yeah, I don't understand why he was 90. He's probably not even that great in Assault Intercessors, so I still don't think you play him. Oh, he can dual attach. Excuse me. With a Captain, Chapter Master, Lieutenant. I was just literally looking at the wrong part of the data sheet. Yeah, so he can dual attach. All right. Yeah, so that's probably good. You could take him in a 5-man Assault Intercessor with a Captain, and you could dual attach them. And you get the AP bonus or something else. I don't know. Probably okay. Chaos Demons, Nurglings went up. I say this as a Chaos Demons player, fucking good. 35 points for that unit was pants on head. Whoever made that change in the last Dataslate update is a silly goober, because that was wild. They like arguably made the unit better. They certainly made the faction better around them because they had ridiculous synergy with Shadow Legion. We watched entire Noise Marine squads in T5S2 fail to kill a Nurgling base. Like the like awkward -1 to wound, like with like toughness bonuses and stuff, just like made them so weird to kill. And very often you could just flub on them. 35 points for the unit was just like silly. So I think that's certainly necessary. And it's only up 5, so you're not even really paying that much more for them. Shadow Legion got a bunch of nerfs, which I think is understandable. Blood Legion got Slaughter Thirst down. Nobody's fucking playing Blood Legion, so I don't know what this ability is. Lance within 6 inches went down to 25. You play that now, I think. Turns out Lance on Bloodletter is good. We are experiencing that with Khorne Demonkin, but I still don't know if you're going to be playing Blood Legion, to be honest. Shadow Legion, Fate to Darkness went up 15 points. Understandable. Leaping Shadows went up 10 as well. Understandable. A lot of people have moved away from Shadow Legion, so this change feels like it was locked in a while ago and has just been on the books for a while, like since, for the last couple of weeks or whatever. But we haven't really seen Shadow Legion do well in the last, I would say 3 weeks. Most of the success has been from Demonic Incursion, because you get all the characters and you get enhanced repositional effects. And I do have a suspicion Demonic Incursion does feel like it might be good in Chapter Approved 2025. It's such a good come from behind faction that being able to burn this to synergize this with challenger cards might actually be super strong. Getting random dual advance and charges or move through walls with this detachment's kind of crazy. And you have the ability to constantly be bouncing things to score challengers as well. So this might end up being really good. I don't know, but I don't disagree with changes to Shadow Legion, because I still think that there are going to be people who make it sing. Leaping Shadows especially. I'm surprised it didn't just get nerfed instead of going a points increase, because a 9-inch scout move is wild. It's bigger than any other scout move available to anything that can take it. Chaos Knights got nada. Chaos Space Marines got a cut to Jump Pack Lords, who I've literally never seen in play. They don't have anything good to attach to, so I don't really know why you'd play them. They give you 6-inch pile and consolidate. It's a good ability, but not on Raptors. You would see this guy played with the shit played out of him if he could attach to Warp Talons. If they wanted to make this dude really good, they would allow him to attach to Warp Talons. And then you would see him plus 5 Warp Talons in so many lists. But I bet they are just worried about that. So I don't know. They don't have the strength to do what's necessary. Dark Apostle went down to 65. It's actually probably pretty good. He has 2. We talked about him the other day because he has 2 little friendos, right? Who have invuln saves. So he brings 2 non-characters with him who can soak las cannon hits. So he's actually kind of sick. Or you can sacrifice them to deal damage. Oh, excuse me. They are characters, are they? Let me look at the data sheet real quick. I'm trying to find the keywords. At the very least, they can once the unit's dead, they can eat hits for him if he hasn't sacrificed them already. Yeah, no, they are non-character. Okay. Oh, chat. 39k is killing me, man. It's so fast, but it's so wrong. It's just says they're characters. It's just incorrect. It's just wrong. I should stop doing that. I should use a different reference. What I should do is get an emulator on my machine and then put the app on it. I see in the news that scientists got a chimpanzee to win a game with Death Guard. Excuse me, chat. You can't call them chimpanzees. You have to call them Jokero, okay? They got a Jokero to win using Death Guard. That's so fucking funny. Oh, man. We talked about Titans already. We had a whole discussion about them. That's very good comment, chat. Master of Possession down 10. Phenomenal. That guy's already he sees play occasionally in the really pushy possessed lists. You could see him for 60 points for an upgrade to possessed. You could see him in cult or creations of Bile. He's He's +1 to advance and charge. So if you can advance and charge, he's +2 to your threat range. So the unit's moving like potentially 13 and then charging. If you include all the +2s that you can gain. So that dude might, for 60, might actually be like kind of insane. Plus, he's got a little stick he can hit people with. Bonk. Trader Enforcers down. Felgor Beastmen down. It's all kind of whatever. Dork Angels, no changes except for all the cool rules that they got. Let's go. Death Guard, Nurglings went up. Ugh. Well, I, for one, welcome our new Death Guard overlords. I'm curious because they feel like they could be we've seen, I think there's a bug fixing errata for them, but we haven't seen a balance errata, and we might get a pass on them, a mechanical pass on them, which could like nerf things. They changed like Lords of Virulence to like reroll ones instead of full rerolls or something. Like that could be kind of big. I don't know. But I think we're going to, at least the next couple of weeks, we're going to just get destroyed by Death Guard for a little bit because this faction's sort of nuts. So, that's disappointing. There were some really easy changes you could make. They did do like a very small bug fix to, I guess while we're talking about them, we might as well talk about their Codex FAQ. They did some very small bug fixing changes. Deathshroud Terminators got a super duper small, off my viewer. You had a super duper small update. Their 6-inch Deep Strike works only movement phase, so you can't do it when you rapid ingress, like the other 6-inch Deep Strikes in the game. Plague Burst Crawlers also don't permanently affect the target. The ability is worded weirdly. The effect of the ability says that you are struck by spores, I think is what it's called. And then the next clause is each unit struck by spores you roll and it suffers mortal wounds. So if you have been affected by the ability, the implication was every time you fired the Plague Burst Crawler again, every single unit it had ever hit would be affected by mortal wounds again, which was clearly not intended. So it's good that they just FAQ that right away. But this is not like huge balance stuff. So there is some stuff they could do if they do another pass on this, like out of season, out of order. But some people are trying their best to like counter tech the faction. So I know there's a lot of people bringing things that are particularly statted to kill bloat drones and Mephitic Blight Haulers. We'll see if that ends up being enough because their data sheets are just so efficient right now that I don't know. But it does feel like a thing you could fix with points. It just feels like they have too much stuff right now. Deathwatch, no changes. Drukhari got some nice quality of life. Raiders and Venoms down, so you're probably down between 10 and 20 points per list. Ravagers down 10, which is nice. Mandrakes down 5, so most lists are probably going to drop like 25 to 30 points. So not a huge change, but you get an extra enhancement or something in there for free. Plus, obviously, like Reaper's Wager got way better, and that's the best attachment that they have anyway. Emperor's Children, not surprising. We see some nerfs here. There were a couple that are surprising to me. A Demon Prince with Wings going up to 200 makes total sense. I think that was coming a mile away. Lucius up to 150 surprises me because maybe I'm biased, but I don't know if anyone was like that excited to take Lucius, you know what I mean? But he's good for Coterie of the Conceited because he's just like the best warlord option they have. But like, and then he's like the situationally good like defensive piece, but the counterplay to him was pretty widespread. He's also a singleton, so going up 10 is like not the biggest deal, but 150 for his offensive profile just like feels really weird. Especially when we're looking at like Mephiston for like 40 less points. They're like the same unit. But Lucius is 40 points more. Like, I don't know. It's just strange. So that one surprises me a little bit. 140 almost felt too high for him, but he's up higher now, so I don't know. Maybe I'm just an idiot. Noise Marines up 10 and Demon Princes up 20 make total sense. And you took those in triplicate every time. I kind of wish we saw Flawless Blades drop by 5 to 10 per unit. I was kind of expecting that, to be honest. But we didn't, so there it is. Oh well. Pledge of Unholy Fortune went up 10 and Coterie of the Conceited. So Coterie got hammered. Coterie went up 100 points. 110 if you take Lucius. But speaking from personal experience, you can still win playing 80 points down in that detachment, because I did that for like a month. So the faction will survive. Fulgrim's down 20, which is cool. I don't think... He was 385 before. 20 is not enough for Fulgrim. Like, we need that dude to be... He's fucking 385 points. Jesus Christ. We need that dude to be like sub 350 at least, right? But we're slowly getting there. We're slowly getting there. But the Flawless Blades, his points value is too high, I think. There's some other stuff. Fucking Helldrake's at 195. Come on, man. You just nerfed them last update. Like Terminator's at 170, but those are just bad data sheets. I don't know how you fix those. It could be interesting if they like cut Land Raiders or something for Emperor's Children. That would be like because there's literally no internal synergy with this data sheet, and it's a delivery system for Flawless Blades, so it like kind of tangentially makes Flawless Blades better if you make this cheaper. So if they cut them by like 10 or 20 points, that would be kind of an interesting direction to go in. But would give you something else that's like hardy to play. That's not just the Winged Demon Prince. But I don't know. I wish we saw something go down, but besides fucking Fulgrim. Big trash ass Fulgrim over here. New Lion is so much of a better beat stick. I know. You compare those two data sheets, it's like fucking night and day. Fulgrim's like, my Primarch ability is -1 to be hit. And and I have to choose that instead of fighting first. And Lion's just like looking at the fights first printed on his data sheet, and then the -1 to wound printed on his data sheet, and then he's like, I guess I'll redeploy myself for free, and like teleports behind Fulgrim and like does the Undertaker meme. Like man. It's not a good comparison. Fulgrim is like a really bad unit, dude. Oof. What should a former Chaos Undivided player do? I don't keep playing Chaos Undivided. I don't know. Chaos Undivided seems great. Genestealer Cults. We saw points cut to Atalan Jackals. Fine, I guess. Genestealer Cults, I think, are just suffering from a low play rate right now. I imagine. I don't know how many people are actually playing Genestealer Cults. And if we see things like Ultramarines go down, they might be doing okay. Because Ultramarines do feel like it was like super annoying for them. You just like screen with infiltrators, and then a Gladiator Reaper kills their whole army by itself. Like, call it a day. But if Ultramarines see lower play rate, Genestealer Cults probably hop up a little bit. Grey Knights, Brotherhood Champions went down. Nice to see. 10-man Brotherhood Terminators. Ooh, and Paladin squads. Damn. All right. You're getting some Drago action back with 10 Terminators. It's kind of nice. Imperial Knights. Big nada. Or, excuse me, Imperial Agents. Big nothing. Imperial Knights. Also nothing. Leagues of Votann. Also nothing. Necrons. Points cut to Canoptic Doomstalkers. Please play Canoptic Court again. Please, I beg you. Play Canoptic Court. Stop playing Star Shatter Arsenal. Canoptic rates went down. Wait a minute. What is this, chat? What the fuck is this? Who has done this? They went down. Only 5 points. Or 10 for the... Wait, what the fuck? Canoptic rates are like one of the best units in the game. What is happening? I don't understand. Oh, did Technomancers also got down? They did. Did Crypto Thralls go down like randomly too? Wait. Where did Crypto? Oh no. We dodged the triple buff. What the fuck is that though? Why? Why did Canoptic rates go down? I didn't even notice that when I first looked through this. That's so fucking dumb. Oh, man. Illuminor Saraz went down? I guess, so, like, you're losing 10 to 15 on your Locust Destroyers, and you're losing, like, 10 to 20 on your Scorpek Lords. And if you play Awakened, you're losing 50 on an Agic Dermal Bond. So the list is probably going to be the same. But there were lists that are like double Canoptic Wraiths, double Technomancers, triple Plasmancer. And like those lists, just like all that stuff got cut. I don't understand. What is this? Death Marks went down? Weird. Were Necrons doing badly? They weren't, right? That's so flabbergasting to me. This is at worst a side grade, but probably a buff. But like this faction is good, right? Like am I missing something? Was their win rate like super bad and I just like didn't notice? Because they had event wins, and oftentimes they looked utterly dominant in a lot of matchups. That's weird. Also, Scorpek Lord's going up. I guess makes sense. It's like this weird T7 character profile, but it does feel a little. I guess I think I'm biased because I think Scorpek Lords are neat. I like the lists that run like a bunch of individual Scorpek Lords who just run around and do mortal wounds. I think that's kind of cool. But but I don't disagree with them at 90. I wish they had more attacks, I guess, but I don't know. Changes do nothing. Yeah. Canoptic Corridor down 50. If they play triple wraiths, yeah, they're down 45, and Doomstalkers are down, so they're probably down 50. But like Death Marks going down is relevant because you often see like one of those for Deep Strike. Illuminor Sarah's going down blows my mind. That guy's like just straight broken. But I guess the Dermal Bond Scorpek Lord went up a ton. He went up 25, which I don't disagree with. 4+ feel no pains, man. What an annoying mechanic. Speaking as someone who plays Ed all the time. Gained 45 points on our weekend list? Yeah. Bad internal balance? Right, but this worsens the internal balance. This is... Like, I don't disagree. There's very bad internal balance inside this codex. Actually, is that true? It does have like what is probably like one of the worst units in the entire game in it, but the rest of the roster is actually like highly playable. Like what in this roster would you like straight up never play? Like A barges he play, all the Catan shards he play. Deceiver's like questionable, but whatever. He's annoying to kill and not hyper expensive. Like good. Okay. Good. Okay. Good. Okay. Good. Bad? Good? Good. Okay. I guess Night Scythe, bad. Like all of this, like Locust Lord's all right. The Tomb Blades are good. Transcendents are okay. Trajan's bad. Praetorians, probably too expensive. Could have cut those guys. So like the Obelisk is unplayably trash, and Trajan's really bad, and everything else in the Codex is at worst fringe playable. So like, I actually don't agree that the internal balance is bad, but you did just take the best unit in the Codex, like in contention for like one of the best units in 40k and make it significantly cheaper. So like that just worsens the internal balance. Like I don't know, I don't get it. Like, we didn't touch airplanes, we didn't touch the fucking obelisk. but we lowered canoptic rates.
Ryan G donated $5 through Super Chat. So question. Are Screamer Killers actually good in the new unit detachment? 6-inch charges are of tunnels does solve their move issues.
Maybe. So, I don't know. The 6-inch charges thing, I kind of see Screamer Killers as like a support shooting unit that has like tangential melee. So like delivering them wasn't like the issue I saw, but like it does help them out. But like, would I rather deliver a Screamer Killer or like hold one eye? Like, I don't know. We'll talk about it when we talk about the detachment. I do think it's okay. But yeah, I mean, it's not bad. I do think that a lot of the stuff in like the random like super trash melee stuff in Tyranids is gonna be good in that new detachment, which I think is interesting. I think like, there's gonna be an argument for like big warrior bricks. There's gonna be an argument for like even horror spexes and stuff like that. So we'll talk about it when we get there. But I think it's gonna be sweet. So I think that this is one of those changes. Just to wrap this up, this is like blowing my mind right now. This change. This is one of the changes. So we see this occasionally, where Games Workshop will just write off data sheets, right? Well, they'll say, okay, there's some data sheets in this codex that are almost entirely unsalvageable. We don't care about these units, right? We don't care about this. We don't care about this. We probably like don't even care about these guys. We don't really care about Catan shards because they keep being toxic every time we buff them. But what we want to do is adjust the win rate of the faction. So you buff the best unit. They've done this to Tyranids before. They've done this to a bunch of factions before. They did it to Demons at one point. They just said the win rate of this faction is not where we want it to be. You just take the best thing that's always played and you nudge it down a little bit. And that it doesn't do anything to adjust what people play. It simply makes their list strictly better. And that's basically what they did. I guess like Awakened Dynasty specifically will side grade because you're probably like you're losing like 15, 20, 30-ish points on stuff, and then you're losing 30 to 40 on Scorpic Lords. But other detachments will just simply get better. And so like the balance between data sheets hasn't changed, but Necrons, I think, as a whole have just been improved. It's a weird change, man. But I think it's maybe I'm biased because I tend to see a lot of Necrons. I don't really know. I think they're very popular, which is probably why. But so I think maybe I have an over exaggerated appreciation for the faction or something. Can't wait for the resurgence of 3x10 Gene Stealers in tunnels. Dude, if I could deliver anything in Tyranids, why would I deliver Gene Stealers? Especially because the detachment ability doesn't do anything for them. It's like actual anti-synergy. You know what it does? Helps out like Raveners and stuff, though. I don't know. We'll talk about it. Orks. Shock attack guns up. 20-man boys up. Weird. All the speed freak stuff. Okay. All right. Recency bias, but you want to know what's happening here, chat? Speed Freaks just got full release. I was playing it last night. It was with some of the devs. It was fucking awesome. So they want people to play the Speed Freaks cars. That's why they buffed the Cult of Speed, and that's why they're buffing all of the cars. Boomdaka Snazwagon, straight broken, highest DPS. Shock Tap Dragsta, really good at delivering bombs to Stompas to slow them down. Rucka Truck Squigwaggy, best support. Truck got nerfed. That sucks. I don't really know how to play that in the game, but apparently it's good. I don't really understand it. Mega Trap Scratchat, my favorite. So he got buffed, so good for him. Where's the Booster Blaster? It's gone. Is there a Booster Blaster? Oh, it starts with a K, not a C. Duh. Fucking literally in the middle of the screen. Also buffed because it's the most rad of the cars. So I'm putting my money down. They both Cult of Speed, so people play the cool cars. Boosh. Red ones go faster. 5 points don't really help bad data sheets. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. It's you're not going to play them, but it's nice. It's a nice thought. The new Advance and Charge army wide for the new detachment is cool. If they had dropped, maybe they can't because like the floor is too low. But if they drop like Warbikers, Culto Speed actually gets like kind of insane because Warbikers are like actually a kind of a good data sheet. If you just give them permanent Advance and Charge all the time, the faction just like running just 1 trillion little tiny units of bikes everywhere, like gets really annoying. So I don't know. Maybe, I think they're probably worried about that. Tank Bus is up 5, Trucks up 5, Zodgrot up 10. I mean, I guess so. Flash gets up 10. This does feel kind of a lot of nerfs. Luta's up 15. People playing Lutas. Nobody's playing Mordaka anymore. Lutas do not need to be nerfed anymore. Tank Bustas and Trucks up makes a ton of sense, though. I think that's understandable. All right. Let's move to Space Marines. Pick up bump, blow up stumpa. We should get we should do a community play day for Speed Freaks chat. When should we do that? I'll do it this weekend if I. So a little bit of an aside. There's I'm waiting to hear back from the event organizers, but there is a non-zero chance that I won't be able to make it to the New York event this weekend. If I'm not there, we should do like a community Speed Freaks day. That'd be cool. That game is underplayed, folks. I am still waiting on ACO to get back to me though. Because if ACO gets back to me, I might be able to stream over there next week, which would be cool. I would love to stream. I've never streamed a Frontline event, so that would be kind of neat. But I actually did not realize how close it was to me. I can just travel. I can commute, which actually would be wild. So I hope that so you can give me the green light because it would be cool to go down there. Yeah, so if there are not IRL stream coverage this weekend, we'll play some video games probably. So Space Marine Codex stuff. Aggressor squads went down. So people are going to be, I don't know, there's going to be mixed feelings about Space Marine nerfs because Space Marines have been like so wild, like weird lately. And it's weird to see like Blood Angels got buffed. There's new Space Wolf stuff that's really good. And also Space Marines are also getting buffs. But the stuff they're buffing is like kind of trashy. Aggressor squads went down. This has been so fucking long coming because this unit was really good at release because you would Fire Discipline combo the aggressors. Then they nerfed the aggressors, then they nerfed the Fire Discipline combo, and they hyper upcharged the unit. And you compared them to literally anything else in the faction, and you're like, why the fuck would I play this? And they're just not good at their previous points value. I don't know if... I think that 220 for the 6-man is probably still too many, but it's much more palatable than 240. They were 40 points a model for a bad Terminator, which was wild. It was insane upcharge. Calgar down 10 because his ability got nerfed. Jump Pack Captain down 10, which is really interesting because that guy sees a lot of play. I don't really know if we need to cut that guy. Hell Blasters down 1 point per model, which is fine. Heavy Intercessors down 2 points per model. Fine. Still kind of like a weird data sheet that people aren't that excited about, but probably not that bad. Vanguard Veterans down quite a bit. Down 3 points per model. They were 110 for a unit. That's kind of wild. Very good for Blood Angels, like for Liberator Assault Group specifically. Gilliman went down 25. Come on, man. We might still just play Ultramarines. We went down 35 on Ultramarine. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. I think that Marnia's Calgar at OG points like might still just be playable as a punchy man. He's so good as a punchy boy. That like he might not even need the extra CP, and you just take the free points and call it a day. Maybe Ultramarines are still good. Fuck me. Vanguard veterans, big points cut for, which is good. Like I said, for Blood Angels, their weapon profiles look so unbelievably trash that I think that they do need the help quite a bit. So it's nice to see them get a little bit of a points cut. I do like these changes. I do think that they are trying to equalize the bad data sheets a little bit, which is nice. So I don't know if I necessarily feel like we should be decreasing the points value on Guilliman. But we decided to anyway. So there they are. I know, it's like the double oath is crazy strong. why are we supporting this? Why are we supporting this band? Mixed feelings, chat. I think they could have kept Ultramarines the same. Like, literally just kept them the same. Just get rid of double oath. Get rid of the 2 author of the codex abilities. Made him choose one, double oath or command points. But no, he has to do everything. I don't get it, chat. I like, man, the amount that I like the changes to the infantry stuff is like so offset by the fact that like I don't understand why we're continuing to buff Ultramarines. But like we didn't buff any other compliant chapters. Vulcan Heston, 100 points. Okay, sure. Where's fucking Corsaro? How many points is Corsaro gone? Like 85? Make that dude 60, 70 points. Okay. Caven's 100. Like, come on, dude. All right. Well, I've come 180. I liked the points when we were buffing aggressor squads. I don't like the points where we're buffing Ultramarine characters who are already good. But I guess like in the comparison to Space Wolves and Blood Angels, who are going to be super strong now, these points look better, so maybe it's fine. A Lord of Contagion is 110. Jesus. That is good. That is better. Have Iron Fathers? Yeah. Fieros is so... Fieros is such a sad story because he was so... Like, 40k... Here's the deal. Warhammer 40,000 benefits a focused datasheet so much. And in 8th edition, when Fieros released, he was so laser-focused at making vehicles good. He was a Tech Marine, he had Blessings of the Omnissiah, he had an enhanced repair ability, and he gave vehicles an invulnerable save. It was like, you took him, and immediately your vehicles were good. It was too good, but part of that wasn't entirely the fault of Fieros. That was because the Iron Hands Codex supplement was like pants on head. Like super duper dumb, to the point where you actually didn't even play him towards the end. And he got like hit in this crossfire. Pull up his data sheet here. He got hit in this crossfire from the codex being too strong. To the point where he's this really confused design. He buffs vehicles. He repairs vehicles for 3, gives them +1 to hit, gains load operative, gives infantry a feel no pain. Why are we doing that? Why are we doing 2 things? So are we going to get lone operative or are we going to get a feel no pain? Of course we're paying points for both of those abilities because he's 100 points. So like, pick one. Like, is he going to join a unit and make the unit really hard to kill, or is he going to be a vehicle guy? Pick a thing. He was really good when he picked one thing. And now he's like, not good. He makes your heavy intercessors better. Cool, man. Sick, dude. I don't know. That's my piece about Iron Father Fieros. It's just confused. It's a confused datasheet, and those are bad. You need to pick a thing and be good at it, and then be included for that reason, not for being just like a weird goober. Anyway, chat. Let's talk about a different faction than Space Marines. I think we're going to be talking about Space Marines quite a bit. Codex Space Wolves are here. So there is an Index Space Wolves entry for the time being, until we play the Codex release. Codex Space Wolves also included. Let's talk about these guys because this faction seems... Woo, oh boy. Oh boy. Bjorn the Fell-Handed at 170. I think he's like... he's quite a bit more... Or quite a bit less than Index version. Index Bjorn is 190. He's 20 points less. And he's a CP generator. Eat your fucking heart out, Marnius Calgar. Bjorn the Fell-Handed's on the case. He's good at punching. He's good at shooting. He's kind of fast too. He's fucking move 9. And he's hard. He's kind of hard to kill, and he generates UCP. Delicious. Grey Hunters at 180 is actually kind of good. I don't know if that's going to be playable, but maybe good. Here's what so a couple things that I want to point out. First of all, what the fuck is this? 65 for a Wolfguard battle leader? That dude has 7 attacks and 6 wounds. What? I think there's a universe where you just play Wolfguard battle leaders. Who cares about attaching them to things? They have 2 leadership abilities. They give you reroll once to hit within 6 inches and sustain 1. What? And then they also hit super hard and they cost as much as a scout squad. These guys are great. An incredible data sheet for 65. Wolfguard head takers, 85 for 3 dudes with 6 attacks each. Sign me the fuck up. I think you just play. I think you just take an impulsor and you take 6 of these guys. It costs you like 200 points, 200 some odd points, and then you just get like 2 of these nuclear missile units that you can run out onto the chapter and like blow something up super hardcore and then call it a day. They're 85 for those guys is crazy good. The comparison between the unit and the wolves doesn't feel quite as good. It's 25 points to take the wolves with them, which I would have done every time if the unit was base 90, but now we can take them for 85. But it's 25 points for a whole unit, so it's actually probably still fine. So 110, you get 2 units out of these guys. I think is great. So like, I'm super into Wolfguard head takers. I think that there's a like a Gladius kind of list or a Stormfang, Freudian slip, a Stormlance task force kind of list that just runs like super MSU, like 9 Wolfguard head takers, 3 units of 3, 9 hunting wolves, 3 units of 3, 9 Thunderwolf cavalry, 3 units of 3, Wolfguard battle leaders, attached, non-attached, who cares? They're just running around. I don't know. I think these units are phenomenal. Wolfguard Terminators at 170, probably not that bad because we talked about them as being just like a really obnoxious unit to kill. They're super annoying to deal with for their points value. So that's probably playable. Wolfen went up, which I don't know. Wolfen with Storm Shields are 100 points. I don't know if I'm that into Wolfen. The data sheet's like fine, I guess, but I don't. Whatever. Thunderwolf Cavalry 3 for 100 points. Also, again, super good for a bunch of OC2 models with 3 damage melee attacks on the charge. Crazy good. So I think that there's this MSU Space Wolves list that just plays a trillion of these little units, and all of them trade way up. And I think it's gonna be good, guys. I think this codex is looking really strong. Plus, we see good points for Wolf Bots too. Wolf and Dreadnoughts at 145, Venerables at 140. All those numbers haven't changed. So yeah, I'm gonna play some Space Wolves. I think after when I have some time, because I think this faction looks pretty cool. For the Allfather, love it if there was just an all Gravis unit list that got the 5-up Feel No Pain, or all Gravis got the 6-up. That would be cool. I think that would be, I don't know. That's like probably 2 blanket maybe. But like that's not really the design they want to go for. They're very like they're I think they're trying to pull back on like the army wide buffs for Ironfather and Fieros, but Space Wolves looking great. Tau looks like stealth battlesuits went up, which I think is understandable because their new ability affects the entire army instead of just 1 unit. So you probably take 2 units of battlesuits instead of 3, or you cut something and take the 3rd. Crude Carnivore 20-mans went up, which like, kind of blows my mind. That might be Ill-Tempered Fireblade's fault. Like, explicitly. We're like, guys, this man's going to guide with 1 unit, get the benefit on 7 tanks, and then also have 100 crew. He must be stopped. So we're going to increase his army by 60 points. But otherwise, like, Tau obviously got enormous benefits from the army ability upgrade, so I think that's where most of their boons are coming from. Have Speed Freaks wishlisted on all the fashion platforms you play? I play it on PC, but I highly recommend. It's one of my favorite games ever. My friends, every time my friends and I play, like when we just play like random games, we have to decide between Speed Freaks and Helldivers 2. Those are the 2 things that we switch between based on how we feel. And let me tell you, it's a tough competition because those games are super fun. Thousand Suns, we saw their update earlier, so no changes there. Tyranids. Hey, we did get a bit of a leg up for Swarmlord. I actually missed this earlier. Hive Tyrants, Winged Hive Tyrants went down. Did regular and Hive Tyrants went down. Okay. Well, I missed this, chat. That certainly softens the blow of the Hive Tyrant nerf. So all of the Hive Tyrant data sheets went down quite a bit. Swarmlord down 20. All the other Hive Tyrants down 30. 195 for that guy? All right. Okay. All right, GW. You know what? Twist my arm, why don't you? Give me an entire free utility unit worth of points, and I'll take your stupid one free Strat Hive Tyrant, who still has Onslaught and still has lethal hits, and still now maybe hits like an even harder trick, because you can make him AP3 in melee. So, all right. The Hive Tyrant's probably still good. You found a way. Just make them dirt cheap. Swarmlord at 220, also probably not too bad either. Psychophage, we talked about him already. He went up 15. I don't know. I neither understand nor like it, but it's there. And it's a nice buff to have. And I think what they're trying to do is like push the new detachment and make him like able to buff your stabby boys. There's a big change to Raveners, and I'm actually curious about this entry because I feel that this is already out of date because this is not the current Ravener datasheet, and we'll talk about that right now because we are talking about Tyranids. Y'all want to talk about Raveners? Let's talk about Raveners. There is a brand new Ravener file on the Warhammer community with a new set of datasheets for Raveners. As you can see, it does not match what it says in the Militarum field manual. They are now, instead of being 3 or 6, they are locked to 5 models for 25 points apiece. That is a downgrade because the unit, you can't take 3-man utilities anymore, and their weapon profile, I think, is worse. I don't know what the math is here, but I feel like it's going to be worse. So baseline Raveners kind of got the shaft a little bit. This unit feels like super mediocre to me. So what happened to them? Their profile is the same. They lost their gun, I think, entirely. It's just gone. Their thoracic bioweapon, but they just like gained the Carapace save. So that's a downgrade. You almost always took the gun because the 4+ save really isn't saving you. Although with 5 models, maybe it is. Their claws went to 3 attacks from 7, but got an AP and a damage. Which means that instead of being like just the infantry mincers, they're like kind of more medium infantry killers, but they don't quite have enough attacks to kill like 5 Space Marines. So, I don't really know what these guys are doing, to be honest. It feels like a weird data sheet that is kind of not very good. Like for 125, like I guess you can like, it's 15 twin linked attacks. If you have a +1 to wound effect, like 2 units can trade for something, and they're kind of the same points value as like 6 melee warriors, but you could also just take 6 melee warriors and just do it with 1 unit. So I don't know if I like these guys, champ. At least they're more different compared to warriors. Yeah, the difference was the maneuverability, right? Because they could up down. But nobody cares about a 5-man up down. A 3-man is fine because then they're just like getting into corners and you don't care about the cost as much. But these guys went from being a utility unit to being like a weird combat unit that's like sort of statted perfectly not to kill anything. So I don't know. If they went to 4 attacks, I feel like we'd be talking, because then I think they like reliably chunk damage into stuff. But swinging 9 attacks is like a really weird, like it's a really weird profile. Or excuse me, 15 attacks out of a 5-man. So I guess it's like you hit 10. If you're wounding on 3s, re-rolling, you probably hand your opponent like 8 saves. So if they AO, so they'll kill 5 Space Marines if there's no defensive strats, probably. But if they AOC, they probably don't even kill 5 dudes. Like I wish one of these numbers was higher. Like strength 6, so they could chunk vehicles would feel good. 4 attacks, so they were better into infantry would be good. I don't know. It feels too small to me. I don't want to. But that's neither here nor there. We're not here to talk about fucking Raveners, chat. They have like 9 units of the melee profile. Well, yeah, the difference is that most of the Tyranid melee profiles are 1 damage if they're on the infantry platform. But yeah, I don't disagree. It's like this AP2, like with a reroll in there somewhere, is like all over the place. Let's talk about the new unit though. Hyper Adapted Raveners is the new one. This is from the Kill Team release. And these guys are actually really interesting. They're 40 points more than the baseline Ravener unit. They gain Synapse. They gain Shadow. They have essentially a. He's not actually character. Oh, he is a character. He's literally a character. So we can get enhancements. Huh. That's wild. It's also non-attached. So he's a multi-model character unit in a heavy infantry squad. So he can't be precisioned. Actually, I had totally missed that he was a character earlier. Huh. Is there synergy here? What can we do? I bet there's some spice in here somewhere. Can we give him like parasitic biomorphology? Can make the guy's strength 6? I bet there's something. We'll talk about the new detachment, I think, in a bit here. He doesn't attach. He's not attached to the unit at all. He's just a member. It's like he's like Marnie. Go watch my fucking Marnius Calgar video. You want to know how this guy works? Watch my Marnius Calgar video, and we'll have a discussion about it. So all right. So here's how it works. So it's 4 Raveners, or it's 3 baseline Raveners. A Venom Bolt Ravener who has kind of a good gun. D6 plus 3 Torrent, strength 6 AP 1, ignore cover. So like, okay, all right. It's assault, so if you can advance and charge, you can shoot it with it as well. He's a leader unit, but he attaches into Raveners. So if you just take the hyper adapted Ravener squad by itself, he's not attached. But you can attach this unit to the Ravener unit and make a 10-man Ravener squad. Which, now that I say that out loud, sounds awesome. All right, Raveners. Mea culpa. I have misjudged you. I read this datasheet being like, oh, this is a neat upgraded version of a Ravener squad. Fucking attach them together. You can make a big unit. 15 strength 5 AP 2, 2 damage melee attacks. Not that exciting. 1 brick of 33 strength 5 AP 2 twin linked melee attacks with sustained hits. Slightly better. Like a little bit. Like a little bit better. This is cool. Need an enhancement that buffs the full unit? Yeah, I'm sure there's something. If we play Invasion Fleet, can we get anything cool? You can get Stealth? No, not Invasion Fleet. Excuse me. Vanguard. We could Stalker, which is good. We can Chameleonic for Stealth and... oh, no, it just gets covered the unit. That's whatever. Who cares? Biophagic Flow is the only one I can think of. I bet there's something in the new detachment. I haven't read all the enhancements yet. We'll talk about that after this. Servitors do have new data sheet too, yeah. So, yeah, I have been derailed by the idea of 10 Raveners in a unit. That's real 9th edition energy, dude. Oh, all right. Well, anyway, let's talk about this unit by itself. So by itself, I think that, honestly, the unit's playable on its own. I kind of wish it had an invuln. It was just like a 5-up invuln or something. That'd be kind of neat, but it's neither here nor there. The unit by itself has... it's a 6-wound character and 4 3-wound Raveners. The character is has Shadow in the Warp. You can rapid ingress the unit or heroically intervene them for free. And you can duplicate that with another rapid ingress or heroic intervention. So we can do like Venatari Custodian stuff where we can like rapid ingress something, like a Trigon or something, then like duplicate and also drop this Ravener unit. So like at a baseline, the unit's like kind of sweet because it has 18 attacks instead of 15 because the character has 3 more than a regular Ravener. And their claws have anti-monster, anti-vehicle 5. So they're basically +1 to wound against most heavy vehicles. Plus, they have this like pretty neat gun. And I like this ability. It's a non-leader ability. It just gives the entire unit sustained hits 1. So if you attach him to a squad, all the Raveners will get sustained hits, but if you don't, the base unit has sustained hits. So these are baseline sustained hits, anti-monster 5, anti-vehicle 5, twin-linked. The number of keywords on this fucking weapon profile is kind of nuts when you think about it. You can also synergize that with like Invasion Fleet, where you can get this unit in and Adrenal Surge them and then give them lethal hits against vehicles. So they're if you have the full 10-man, it's 33 attacks, sustain or critical 5, sustain lethal with twin linked. So like at that point they actually do a murder on someone. Which is pretty neat if I'm being real with you.
Chad donated $5 through Super Chat. Is the Storm Surge at least semi-usable now with the new Tau Army rule, since you should be able to split fire without a penalty now?
Yes. And in fact, you can even split fire with a bonus. Because if I think we talked about this a little bit when we talked about the Dataslate. Do I still have the Dataslate update? I do. Because I believe you get, if you spot 2 separate units... yeah. Then, so you are a guided unit while you are targeting 1 or more spotted units. While a guided unit is targeting a spotted unit, they gain +1 ballistic skill and ignore cover potentially. So if you spot 2 separate units and split fire, you get the effect of both guides. So you could like take all his missiles, his little tiny missile shots, and guide them into an infantry squad, and then take his big cannon shot and guide it into a vehicle, and you get +1 ballistic skill on all of them. So I'm not gonna go out of my way and say it's like super strong, because you could also just like be playing 3 hammerheads or whatever. But I do think it's at least playable. It's way more synergistic than it was previously. Full Ravager brick costs, yeah, it's $290 for the full unit. which is like about what you'd expect out of like a big punchy unit, right? Like Calgar plus a company hero squad is like 305. And this is like kind of the same level of output, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's very reasonable for like a melee brick of this capacity. They turned Ravagers into a melee unit? They were always a melee unit. They had 21 attacks at the base level. Yeah, target all the different spotted units. Yeah. Yeah, the new Tau army roll is fucking crazy, dude. So... do I have anything else to say about these guys? I don't think so. I think that they're great. I think that you can play Hyper Adaptive Raveners as a little annoying unit by itself. You can also play a big spicy unit. They can up down themselves too, which is kind of sweet. And take 10 Raveners together, and then attack 1,000,000 trillion times, which I think is pretty cool. Do I think the 50mm Tyrant base range is a typo? Oh, is that in the document? Almost assuredly. If that's in there, yeah, that's definitely a typo. That'll probably get ruled as 60. There's some weird ones in we'll talk about that in a little bit here, champ. Free rapid well, you don't need a free rapid ingress enhancement. You have it built in. You don't. They just do that for free. The rapid ingress enhancement is for your character Trigon primes, which we'll talk about. I think that it's a lot of abilities, dude. Yeah, it's this man. Oh, also. I'm kind of like I'm understanding the combo. This says strength 5, but it means strength 6 because this is a synapse unit. So the Raveners that we have in this unit are also base +1 strength because they are part of a synapse. Oh, are we synapse keyworded? Yeah, we are. Yeah. As long as it has the character inside. Yeah, so they're part of a synapse unit. So they are definitionally within 6 inches of a synapse creature. So they're going to get +1 strength. So it's all strength 6 AP2 twin linked sustained hits. Ooh, I think this unit's sweet. Yeah. All right, chat. I would like to talk about the Tyranid Detachment because we are on a Tyranid bent right now. I do have to take a quick bio break because we've been going for 2.5 hours at this point. So I'm gonna give myself like 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'm gonna be back, and we'll talk about the brand new Tyranid, the Tyranid Burrowing Detachment, which is like, I don't know, maybe the coolest thing I've ever said in my life. Man, I was all excited to play Tyranids, or I was all excited to play fucking Space Wolves after this update. Am I gonna play an unironic game with Tyranids? Yikes. Worried about myself right now. There's no way, right? It's not really going to happen. All right, folks. Nah. Immediately like, nah, bro. All right. Yeah, maybe we'll see a return of the snake list. Let me take a super quick break here, folks, and I will be back in a moment. And we'll talk about some freaking Raveners, dude. Cheers, everybody! chat. We're getting back to it, folks. Let's talk about some Tyranids. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Ooh, feeling good. I'm energized, and I'm ready to talk about Subterranean Assault. Who's ready to talk about some spooky, scary snakes? Does anybody know where it says that Soul Grinders and Defilers now require a base? Yeah, it's in the tournament guide, the tournament packet. If you don't play tournament play, it's not relevant, but if you do, you will be required to put your big grinders on a base. Which, in fairness, I'm not going to say I told you so, but the implication of the rules was that they always required a base. You threw out your Soul Grinder bases, I'm sorry. I know it said you didn't need to, but it was a funny controversy because the UKTC made a ruling on it, and they said, yeah, it does say that if you play Warhammer 40,000, you don't need a base for your Soul Grinders. It also says that the model's playable in 7th edition Warhammer Fantasy, so maybe that rule is not necessarily up to date. And I was like, fair enough. But it is confirmed now, if you play tournament play, bases for Soul Grinders. Which, honestly, good change. Bad for the unit, good for gameplay. So here we go. Big deal for Soul Grinders, yeah, for sure. Snakes in a game? Indeed. Build instruction. Yeah, but here's the thing. Build instructions aren't rules. The core rules say that if your model comes to the base, you must use it. The build instructions also typically have data sheets on them with stats that aren't correct. Like, it implies that you don't need a base, but the little instruction guide inside the box does not constitute game rules. Which was the concern. I don't think it was like unreasonable for anybody to play them without a base, because that is it's an open question, right? Whether or not that thing applies. But it also like almost certainly has super outdated like armor value listings on it, which we haven't used in 3 editions. So like I don't, it is what it is. It doesn't matter. They've made a ruling on it. You have to have a base now. So that's where we're at. Does it say that if a model comes to the base, you have to use it? Yeah, I believe it's in the core rulebook. I'm not gonna look it up right now, but I believe that's where it is. Could at least give it the super heavy terrain room. Yeah, I wish they would do that with more stuff for sure. I do think it Defilers and so anything with the you could move through 4-inch terrain things should just have the you can move through walls and battle shock yourself or whatever. That's such a positive change for the game that I think it's very necessary. All right, so let's talk about this super neat Tyranid Detachment. So this is Surprise Assault. First of all, like I mentioned before, one thing Games Workshop loves to do now is give out this detachment ability. Reroll hit rolls of 1. Okay, something less, the addition of less rerolls. They say it every edition, but it's always wrong because Warhammer 40,000 with no rerolls sucks to play. It's more fun if you have more rerolls. So first, great. We're rerolling hit rolls of 1 on all of our attacks. Ranged, melee, doesn't matter. You just get hit rerolls. Cool. In addition, burrower units, so Malmox and Trigons is what it says at the bottom here. When they are set up on the battlefield, place a circular 40mm tunnel marker anywhere within 1 inch of that and more than 3 inches away from enemy units. In the reinforcement step of your movement phase, you can set up a unit wholly within 9 inches of one of those tunnel markers, more than 6 inches away from enemy units. And I know there were questions about this earlier in the chat. Notice there is no additional restriction here. You can shoot and charge after you do this. We're playing Chaos Demons now, chat. This also affects everything, including both Strategic Reserve and Deep Strike. Anything that is off the battlefield and is arriving in your reinforcement step is in reserve. It all can come in from tunnel markers. So even if you've started things in Strategic Reserve, you have abilities to return to Strategic Reserve, anything can come up next to a tunnel marker. and then make a 6-inch charge on someone, and then do a murder on them. This ability is really cool. It does require a big, expensive monster to bring your guys in, but that's okay. If it's a Moloch, they're going to come in, ping mortal wounds, potentially battle shock your opponent, then drop a unit in charge with it. Importantly as well, the tunnel markers don't disappear. They're essentially just cult ambush markers from Genestealer Cult. So the tunnel markers are only removed when enemy models move within 3 inches of them. So if you place a Moloch and you set up like a tunnel marker next to a ruin or something, until someone moves up to destroy that marker, you can constantly be setting up things in your reinforcement step from that marker. It's important to note, so you can rapid ingress stuff in to drop tunnel markers, because it just requires that Molochs and Trigons come from reserve. You can also interestingly like chain them, which I'm like noticing now. You can drop a Moloch, set up a thing from reserve, then 6-inch deep strike and set up another tunnel marker. Not that it really matters, but that's kind of funny. The tunnel markers are permanent until they're destroyed. So you can keep setting up units from existing tunnel markers. And there's up-down for burrowers in this detachment, so you can potentially get multiple tunnel markers out of a single Moloch. So this detachment's going to be hyper-aggressive. We're just going to be dumping huge numbers of monsters and melee units into our opponent's face. And it's going to be super tough to play around because we're constantly going to be able to just like pound stuff into our opponent's army, and into the opponent's face. So keyword abilities, Molochs and Trigons are borrowers. In addition, up to 2 Trigon models gain character keywords, so they can be given enhancements. They don't get any other bonuses, so there's no reason to do it if you aren't giving them enhancements, or you don't, unless you need a warlord. But because otherwise they just give up assassination. But if there are some good enhancements for these guys. Tunnelina Harridan. Oh my god. Also, I think they imply that the Harridans in the base size guide. We'll just open that up real quick because it's really funny. I think they imply that the Harridan is on its rock base and not a flying base. It is in Chapter Approved Tournament Companion, which, first of all, is how I played it in 9th edition, because they never specified a base size for it. But also, it just says it's on a bespoke base, which I think is just its flying stand, which is 2 by 3 inches. It's this big. If that's the case, the Harridan's fucking maybe broken. I don't know. It's fucking weird, dude. Also, Hierophants have a hull measure. They don't use their weird, like designer note base thing anymore, I guess, which is good. A couple of Raveners on 40s. Let's go. There are Hyperadaptor Raveners in here? No. Weird. But pour one out for Warriors. Warriors on 50s. Awkward. And pour one out for Carnifexes on ovals. Womp. Womp womp. Sucks to suck. Anyway, we'll go through that document later. Let's talk about this thing. Enhancements. We have rapid ingress for free, probably for that's for Trigons. If we want to do that, I guess you could do like Winged Hive Tyrants or something too, which could be kind of cute, maybe. Tremor Senses. You can redeploy units into Strategic Reserve, which is kind of neat. So we can actually beat this normal Strategic Reserve restriction. So you can actually like deploy all your Molochs and Trigons to put your expensive stuff on the table and then redeploy them into reserve if you have this enhancement, which is kind of neat. Vanguard Intellect. You can set up units from Deep Strike a turn earlier, first, second, or third movement phase, regardless of mission rules. So we can be Moloching people turn 1, which is great for utility, right? You get like a weird secondary turn 1, and I guess not a Moloch, but you could do it with like a Parasite of Mortrex or
or a Trigon and pop them up and then do actions or whatever in like weird spots. Parasite of Mortrex might be the best place for this, honestly. Trigon Prime. You gain Synapse, which also means that you have a baseline +1 strength. Then you also gain +1 strength and weapon skill. So he's 12 attacks, strength 11, weapon skill 2, rerolling ones to hit because of the detachment ability. So this is unironically scary. We found a way to make a Trigon actually hit hard in melee, and it's give them 1 trillion strength bonuses and built-in rerolls. It's what you got to do to make Tyranids good. Just like wildly improve their stats. All right. Some stratagems. Adaptive optimization gives a Moloch or Trigon Synapse. Probably fine. It's usable in your command phase, so you can do it before you take battle shocks, and it gives you +1 strength. So it's not gonna be useful that often, but if you can't auto pass and you need the 3d6 battle shock, you got it for a CP. Replenishing swarms. Usable in your movement phase on a Tyranid unit from your army wholly within 9 inches of a tunnel marker, then you can regenerate up to D3 + 1 wounds or 1 wound models to the units. It's 1 CP, but it's green. I don't know why. Enfilading Emergence, usable in your movement phase until the end of your next fight phase. Weapons equipped by models in your unit gain Sustain 1 and Ignore Cover. All weapons. Suddenly your melee weapons get Ignore Cover. Let's go. But also, this affects both your guns and your melee. And you can use it on anything as long as it sets up from reserve. So we can use it on our Trigons. We can use it on... there's probably some other good units where it's like kind of crazy strong, like Norns, I guess, that shoot and fight. Could be good. I'm just saying. Is this we could get some use out of Toxicrenes maybe, because you can do the charge farther thing. They still do that? I don't even know what Toxicrenes do. No. They lost that. Just kidding. That's 9th edition. 9th edition, if they shot you with their gun, they got +2 to charge. Yeah, but they don't do that anymore. I was trying to make Toxicrenes worthwhile. God damn it. But they do attack 1 trillion times, so getting sustained hits, ignore cover on those guys actually might be okay. Yeah. We're unironically talking about Toxicrenes right now. I feel like the world is broken. Tunnel Network allows you to redeploy a unit at the end of your movement phase if you're wholly within... you Nidus Canal them? You fucking literally Nidus Canal? Yeah, if you're wholly within 9 inches of a tunnel marker, you can remove yourself from the battlefield and then place yourself wholly within 9 inches of another tunnel marker. Just instantaneously. So it's an instantaneous redeployment. So some weird cool stuff you could do potentially is like use the enhancement to turn 1 deep strike to put a tunnel marker in your deployment zone. Then bottom of the turn, free strat with a Hive Tyrant to pick that guy up with retreat below at the end of your opponent's movement phase or bottom of the round. Put that guy back in reserve and then go and drop another tunnel marker. And then you can pay a CP to redeploy units to the new tunnel marker that are already on the battlefield. So like the repositional abilities of this detachment are fucking wild, dude. You can go everywhere with this army. Swarming Assault gives you reroll charge rolls from a Tyranid monster that was set up as a reinforcement, which is actually that's really good, actually. Yeah, all right, that seems good. And then Retreat Below gives you up to 2 Burrowers on up-down at the end of your opponent's movement phase, which is good. So you can do the Vanguard Invasion thing where you bounce Molochs, 2 Molochs per turn, and just constantly pulse mortal wounds onto things. So this detachment's almost certainly going to start with 3 Molochs and probably 1 to 2 Trigons as well. And then you take some punchy units. The Raveners could be potentially good in this one because they can start on the battlefield and then up down into tunnel markers to then charge. The big Ravener units. You could also do things like play Tyranid Warriors. You can also play things like the big monsters. So yeah. I don't know, chat. I think it's really cool and good. It's going to be a big question of whether or not we can like find the damage output in this army to like make the repositions worthwhile. But like at a baseline, the amount of maneuverability you get is really strong. The one weird thing is that, and I guess like you can chain out you can like basically Russian nesting doll your borrowers. So you can have Trigons in reserve and then use them to close deploy Trigons to then charge with the Trigons and have Trigons continuously place tunnel markers farther forward. So you can get it so that Trigons can reliably charge out of Deep Strike, but only if you have multiple borrowers in reserve potentially.
Gallant88 donated $5 through Super Chat. Just so you know, Raveners are also borrowers.
Are they? Oh, do they just have it on the datasheet? If so, I missed it. Fuck, you're right, chat. Whoa! Is that good? Probably. Yeah. That's a good call out. Thank you for the call out. I think that we often want to be dropping these guys out of other people's tunnels so we get the close deep strike. So we can charge with them, but that is very good. Especially because you can up down them, so you can like you can do the turn 1 deep strike with them to like be placing markers around the table. And then up down them for free. Oh, shit. This detachment's cool as fuck. I'll be honest, this is really sweet. This is a really cool detachment. I'm actually kind of hype about it. I wish there was like sustained hits 1 is okay. Coming out of reserve. But so many Tyranid units already have it. Like Raveners already have it. Warriors already have it if they have attached Tyranid primes. So like I don't know what the best thing to get that with would be. But I guess like you could also just be like up downing like fucking Exocrines and shit. Like maybe it's fine on them. No wonder that Hive Tyrants got nerfed just before this happened, because Hive Tyrants would actually be kind of sick with this detachment. You got 2 free stratagems. You could like free up down and then free like sustained hits when you come back in, or like free reroll charges. The Hive Tyrant could up down himself and then like bottom of or like top of the turn, and then show up 6 inches away and then free reroll himself and just like whee and then go punch people. Oh man, that's kind of cool. Can't do that though. That's illegal. Sad. You could play Swarmlord, but like he loses his CP when he's not on the battlefield, right? So is that true, actually? Yeah, on the battlefield. So he doesn't up down very well. Sad. He might just wander around though. Maybe it's fine. Oh yeah, Zoanthropes hopping out might be good. Yeah, that's not too bad. Sustained hits and ignore cover is good for them. Yeah, that's true. Especially because they're hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s. Yeah, that's probably one of the best places for it. I would love to get it, and I think like Toxicrines are like awkwardly like really efficient because they get a lot of shooting and melee attacks. I would love to get something that's like good at both shooting and melee. Tyranids don't have a lot of that. That's like actually, you know, good shooting. I guess Carnifexes. Hold up. So if we take 2 Carnifexes with Old One Eye, he gets them full rerolls, right? So we can get sustained hits off of all the guns. They can't shoot spine banks out of Deep Strike, which is sad. But they'll get all the Death Spitter shots. So 12 Death Spitter shots with sustained 1 full hit rerolls, AP2, ignore cover. And then they charge in, and Old One Eye has sustained hits on his melee attacks. That's kind of sick. That's kind of sick. Oh, assimilators get the +2. Of course, the Toxicrene donated it to the assimilator, a far superior organism. Oh, you're right. Wait, that guy slaps. You are right, chat. He does get the +2 to charge, so he makes a 4 out of reserve. Oh, man. There's like a universe where you singular purpose a unit in that case, right? Too, so you get the full rerolls against it. He's just gonna die though, and he's 300 points. So, all right, so we could do that to an assimilator. You're right. We could also take 10 fucking Raveners for that cost. And let me tell you, I'm kind of psyched about those guys. They don't need any help. Yeah, the assimilator feels like it's maybe a little corner case now that I'm like because it has to be a monster vehicle, so it doesn't work on infantry when you charge out of it. Yeah. Feel like this detachment is too good? It could be. I think that a lot of the stuff we're talking, like the thing you have to consider is that this doesn't work like demons, or it works mostly like demons, but there's some downside. The first thing to consider is that you're setting up all of these combos with like 150 point monsters. So it's not like demons where you can just like, I'll blip a CP 6-inch deep strike with +1 to charge and just hit you with whatever, right? You have to set it up with a Moloch or a Trigon, and those are not cheap. So you basically start the list by paying half of your cost in Trigons. Now, I'm not going to say that, especially in this detachment, that Molochs or Trigons are bad. Those are good units in this detachment. But none of this stuff works independently. You have, in some cases, you're going to be dumping 300 points worth of support in order to deliver one other unit, because you're going to drop a Moloch to then drop a Trigon to then get in range to charge with that stuff. And then like that stuff's going to charge and do 1 trillion damage, and then you're going to kill it all, and your opponent's down like 600 points or whatever. So like it's a lot of scary stuff, but it's a lot of scary stuff that's backed up by a bunch of expensive paper bags that show up in your face. So like I think it's really cool and maneuverable. Whether I don't know if I would say that it's like broken or anything. I guess like best case scenario is that you are delivering stuff with 125 point Ravener units. That's best case scenario. Yeah. Yeah, the tunnels don't last forever. Yeah. I think that there's going to be some tunnels that, because it feels like this army is going to like set up, go turn, and just like dump a bunch of stuff and set the line of scrimmage like on your deployment line. I think there are going to be some tunnels that they set up either in their own deployment zone. First of all, the game design here is like fucking so cool. Like it requires you to like build infrastructure in your deployment zone to get the full effectiveness out of the stratagems. What the fuck? That's awesome. And then
Ryan G donated $5 through Super Chat. I think there's an argument for Fex with strangle cannons and scything talons in this detachment. Sustained ignore cover might really help that gun.
The Stranglethorn is AP1, 2 damage, D6 plus 1 blast. It does help quite a bit. Yeah, I think you might be right. It's basically like, it's the so you're shooting on average, like 2-ish fewer shots than Despitters. But you get double damage. And you're 1 less AP. I don't know, the AP one's like kind of sad. Could also just rock Venom Cannons, honestly. But the D3 shot sucks. I wish they were flat 3. D3 shots is annoying. D3 shots blast. Yeah, the blast is also weird because you can't shoot in combat too. Scything Talon's good though. 6 attacks with sustained hits at AP2 3 damage. Is that kind of neat? Man, Counterfact's profile like baseline looks so sad. Just like rereading it makes me sad. Oh, you get bioplasma out of them too, so you get another bunch of strength 7 AP, AP2. It's a lot of shooting. Get infantry clear for days. So what was I trying to say? So yeah, first of all, it's really cool that this detachment requires like setup, and I'm like losing my voice. And I think it's like there's going to be a strategy to constructing tunnel networks into the middle of the table that then can give you better charges like in the midboard that are hard to disrupt. The stuff that where you're dumping like aggressive units in your opponent's face right off the bat, your opponent's going to destroy on a return, like on a counter attack immediately. But like I'm envisioning a situation where like let's say you're on layout 1, there's that big ruin in the middle, and you're just placing tunnel markers behind that ruin, and it's hard for your opponent to push past your aggressive stuff to get to that ruin. So you can constantly be 6-inch deep striking out of that thing, which I think is going to be relevant. But any of the stuff that you put in your opponent's deployment zone or whatever is like going to get destroyed immediately. So you're not gonna. It's gonna be difficult for you to consistently 6-inch deep strike in a long distance unless you're like up downing a ton of stuff, right? So I don't know. I think it's really cool. Building underground highways, yeah, for sure. Reroll once is a big deal because Death Guard can force all your units to subtract one to hit. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. If I was playing Tyranids right now, I would not be that worried about beating Death Guard. I think we're just gonna white knuckle through it and hope that Death Guard get nerfed. Please nerf Death Guard. They're killing everyone. Or you play Invasion Fleet and just shoot them with rupture cannons and hope for the best. Like, I don't know. It feels like Tyranids are particularly susceptible to Death Guard right now. They're like profiles. They're like a bunch of units that like are mid toughness that very heavily rely on their armor save. And Death Guard's like -1 toughness, -1 armor save. I win everything on 3s.
We donated $5 through Super Chat. GW is really forcing me to buy 6 Raven and Hill team boxes.
Well, really, you only need 3, right? Or here's what you really only need is if you're already a Ravener stan like me. You just need to convert 3 of your Raveners to be Ravener Primes. And then you already have the other fucking 30. So let's go. I have a right next to me over here. Let's see if I can pull out a Ravener. Do I have a Ravener in here? Well, I got some Warriors. Here's my Tyranid Prime. Boop. I have an entire chest of drawers next to me that is literally, it's literally crammed full of Tyranids that I haven't played in 2 years because I can't fucking stand them. Alright, I don't have a Ravener in front of me, but I do have like 18 Raveners or something in here. I have a Neurolictor. Here's my Neurolictor. Rawr. Hey! Slanesh! Thank you for the gifted membership, Spaceman Spiff. Congratulations on getting that. Open Lish Forge on iOS updates before Saturday. You have a game with Dark Angels. Need to try the new detachment. Yeah, okay. So we should move off Tyranids. This has been a real Tyranid roller coaster, but it has been a long discussion about Tyranids. This detachment fucking rules, and I'm excited about it. I also think that the 10-man Raveners, I think, gives Tyranids a respectable melee unit that they didn't have before. And that might actually be good in other detachments. Invasion Fleet would like that quite a bit. Assimilation Swarm might even like that quite a bit. So I think that there's play with that unit elsewhere too. I think that unit's actually, I mean, Invasion Fleet, or Vanguard Onslaught obviously would like that too. I think that there's a lot in that that's gonna be really, I don't know, it's gonna be good. All right, but Gene Stealers though, But Gene Stealers. What about my Gene Stealers? Listen, I have 90 Gene Stealers. I wish I have 100 Gene Stealers. I wish they were good. But let me tell you, they're mid. Let's talk about some Dark Angels for a moment. For whatever reason, it wasn't showing the title on my thing here, but here it is. Wrath of the Rock is the new Dark Angels detachment to hop in. Convert Red Terror as a Ravener Prime. Literally perfect. Absolutely. Detachment rule: you get transhuman if on infantry and mounted units. If the strength characteristic of the attack is higher than your toughness, they get -1 to wound. Phenomenal. What a detachment ability. Okay. Our Deathwing Knights have additional defensive technology? Sure, why not? Why not make our Deathwing Knights harder to kill? Also, our Inner Circle companions. Also, the rest of the army. Our fucking Ravenwing Black Knights and shit. Enhancements. Tempered in battle. You get reroll battle shock and leadership test within 6 inches. Probably going to be like 5 points, so who really cares? It's points filler, most likely. Ancient weapons is kind of neat. Oh, boy. I'm getting lag today. Do I have too many tabs open or something? It's a really hefty thing that my browser's having trouble with. +2 strength and +1 AP and damage to melee weapons. That's good. That's very good. Space Marine Captain, you love to see it. Gravis Captain gets this because it's not an attack improvement. He gets all of the benefits on all of his weapons, so he can swing like 3 strength 6 AP2 3 damage sword attacks and 5 strength 10 AP3 3 damage fist attacks. That dude's gonna be fucking wild. Or you can swing 8 strength 10 AP3 3 damage finest hour fist attacks with a regular Space Marine Captain. That's spooky. That is a spooky level of damage output from a Space Marine Captain. Please, I might. Let's close this. Maybe that will help. It did. Cool. I had the Dataslate update. I think that was eating all my browser memory. Okay, moving on. Deathwing Assaults. Deathwing models can set up using Deep Strike in the first, second, or third movement phase. Phenomenal. Love to see it. Lord of the Ravenwing, reroll advance and charge rolls made for the Bearers unit. That's really good. And if you are... I guess there's... it's tough to get advance and charge... Yeah, we could get reroll heroic interventions on the Raven Command Squad. Do we have an advance and charge strat in here? That'd be cool. Oh, yep, there is. For 1 CP. Tactical Mastery. Okay. Sweet. So, yeah, reroll advance and charge rolls into a command squad, potentially, and then you can advance and charge with them so they can go really fast. Seems good. Super duper fast. Inescapably Justice is the first stratagem. Character on the battlefield after your Oath of Marmot target is destroyed for 2 CP. So within 12, it becomes your Oath of Marmot target. 2 CP is a lot, but if you do it with a captain, it's only 1. Probably fine. Nice to have the option. We get to be a now newly discounted Gilliman for 1,000,000 command points, so that's okay. And this list will have Azrael in it, so it's not like we don't have a lot of CP to play with, so that's probably going to be fine. Copy pasta enhancements from other detachments. Well, it's hard not to do that when the army that you're playing has like 22 detachments. So eventually, you're just going to run out of stratagems to write. So we might as well just hit the button again. Lion's Will. Until this usable in your command phase, if you're in engagement range of an enemy unit. Until the start of your next command phase, you get +1 OC. Till the end of the turn, if your unit does not have the Deathwing, Ravenwing, or vehicle keyword, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, it gets +1 to hit. So it has an additional bonus for Green Wing. Wild. That's actually kind of neat. So like regular Green Wing boys will get +1 to hit, which is cool. Only if you start the turn engaged, though, which is, in fairness, kind of difficult. But It can mean that if your opponent like charges a scout squad or something and doesn't kill them, you can be like, I'm gonna double OC and hold the objective. And it's gonna come into play, right? It's actually gonna be it's a that's ours from Tactical Brigade with upside, which is a good stratagem. It's just a good stratagem. So, it's pretty good. Armor of Contempt, we all know it and we all love it. Tactical Mastery, usable in your movement phase. Oh boy. I love the timing here, chat. So it's you use it on a Astartes unit from your army anytime in your movement phase. You can shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which you advanced. If you're Raven Wing, you can also shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which you fell back. So the big benefit here is that you don't have to use this before you roll. You get to see where your entire army is. Then at the end of your movement phase, use the stratagem. So you don't have to determine whether or not you're using the stratagem until you know where all your models are positioned, which is a huge bonus. It's also usable on anything, so it's advanced shoot and charge on vehicles, on Terminators, and then additional bonus for Raven Wing. Phenomenal. We're really in the Gladius task force now, folks. Relics of the Dark Age, shooting phase on an infantry or mounted unit. Who remembers this fucking shit from 8th edition? Weapons of the Dark Age, buff plasma weapons. Infantry and mounted units that have not been selected to shoot, you get +2 strength. So we can fire 27 plasma shots from a Raven Wing Black Knight squad at strength 10. Okay. We also get it on Inceptors. We can push Inceptors to strength 7 or 10, or 11, sorry. So we can get Plasma Inceptors to win things on 3s, or Bolter Inceptors to win things on 4s or 5s, and reroll. Oh, that's a really good strat. Leonine Aggression is the last one. End of your opponent's charge phase. You use an Adeptus. Use it on an Adeptus Astartes unit from your army within 3 inches of one or more enemy units. Deathwing unit within 6 inches. You can charge them. Ah! This stratagem's so fucking good. And it's 1 CP. Oh my god. Oh my god. So this is it's from Lion's Blade, right? But Lion's Blade has this for 2. And this one gets it for 1 command point. Hell yeah, dude. So the big benefit is that it's a heroic intervention that doesn't require your opponent to charge. So like to elucidate for people, if your opponent, for example, like falls back from you but can't get outside 6 inches because of like your engagement range or you're only move 5 or something, if they don't kill you in shooting, you just charge them. If they don't charge you with something else. If they like move, if you're on an objective and they move to contest the objective and don't kill you, you just charge them at the end of their turn. And then if they haven't charged you with anything, because you're both fight normal, you get to activate before them because you're activating in the same phase, and inactive player always goes first. So if they also haven't charged that turn, then you get to swing at them first. So there's a pretty good chance you just kill them. Obviously, there's a ton of counterplay to this stratagem, this effect, but it will always come up. There's also going to be situations where you put, like, let's say, like a Redemptor Dreadnought, because he's usable on everything, on the center of an objective. So it's impossible to contest that objective without triggering this effect. And it's 1 fucking command point. Brother, this detachment's sick. Oh my god. You love to see it, chat. Yeah, me. No eligibility check for charging. Oh, that's probably true. Interesting. So, like, you can do it if you're engaged or something. That would be. It's probably a typo. I bet that requires that you are eligible. One interesting thing that we discussed, it doesn't matter in this case because this occurs at the end of your charge phase, your opponent's charge phase. But one thing that we sort of realized recently, and I talked about this in my video, I think even on Monday, is that if you have reactive effects in the opponent's charge phase, it actually can't create new chargers, because if you are outside 12 inches of an enemy unit at the start of the charge phase, you are not eligible to charge. So even if you use effects like this, obviously, again, this one doesn't matter because it goes at the end after all the charges have been resolved. But like a heroic intervention or something, can't pull a new unit into engage or into eligibility to charge. If they started outside 12 inches of you, even if you make a boxcar's charge and you get really close to them, they can't charge you, which is kind of interesting. No, the Armor of Contempt is retroactively adjusted. Every Armor of Contempt says this, but the Dataslate overrides it. Anything that says worsen the armor penetration characteristic of any stratagem that says worsen the armor penetration characteristic of an attack automatically applies for a single activation. This doesn't override that or anything. Deathwing Knights get nothing. They already do that. From the -1 to wound? I don't believe so, right? They just have -1 damage. From Inner Circle. Until they fix the wording or FAQ. You reverse multi-charge. Yeah, and then you could use it theoretically to like pull combat movement, or like if they charge to pin you off an objective, you can charge to like pile in or combat slingshot. You could reactively charge to engage them. It's actually like way more interesting if it works like that. Almost, there's no fucking chance that it ends up staying that way, but it's cool. It would be cool. So I don't know. I would say that the chances of that remaining, that wording is approximately 0 to allow you to charge while you're engaged with people. But it's like way more interesting if you do that. But really good players would like abuse the shit out of that. There's no way it works like that. Yeah, why didn't they copy paste? Yeah, I don't know. Because like they had to change the distance maybe, and it got really long. I don't know. I mean, maybe the intention is that you are supposed to be allowed to charge while in engagement. So, but I doubt it. This detachment's fucking awesome, chat. I don't think I have much else to say about it. The one thing it doesn't do is it doesn't damage output in melee. It doesn't damage bump in melee. Besides like the enhancements or whatever, there's no like lance or something. It's all defensive. It's all like movement stuff, and then the strength bonus at range. But that's probably okay. If you're focusing on like anti-monster, anti-vehicle, like Deathwing units, it doesn't make that big of a difference. But the lack of lance is definitely going to hurt. I think it's questionable whether this beats out Gladius Task Force, because Gladius has obviously like all the damage output. Like it's basically a side grade with ranged attacks, but you get the bonus of Honor the Chapter. But the army-wide defensive ability is like really powerful, so that might end up just being able to attrition your way into victory. I don't know. If you focus on stuff that like has like a good damage output, like already in melee, like twin linked or rerolls, then maybe you don't need Onto the Chapter quite as much. Or you just focus on like big dreadnoughts. This is probably a pretty good dreadnought detachment because you get advance and shoot, you get the counter attack. +2 strength doesn't work, but you could do the +1 OC, which is occasionally relevant too, which also gives you +1 to hit, which is funny. They warped into me being wrong about the pilot and consolidate. Yeah, I'm still getting hate comments on that video. By the way, it's like so funny. I think it's becoming like a self-perpetuating machine now. Like, but I love that. I think it's so funny that like I don't know. So many people complained about that video that like it ended up just generating a bunch of views. So that's fine. If y'all want to keep complaining about it, that'd be okay. Lion, Deathwing Assault Terminator Brick, Azrael, Spam Dreadnoughts, probably. I like. I think you could play a Ravenwing unit in this detachment too. I think you could play a Black Knight squad, like the big fuck off Black Knight squad, because you get fallback, advance, shoot, and charge, which is something that they desperately need, and you get theoretically +2 strength, which is fucking huge. So they're good into up to medium vehicles, so they could advance, reroll advance rolls, shoot a vehicle to death, charge, kill an infantry unit, and just like a lot of value. I think that unit's probably really good in this detachment. So I would give that a go to. Also, like they have regeneration, they have an invuln save, and you get -1 to wound them most of the time, which is very relevant for T5. So I would strongly consider a Black Knight brick too. All right, should we move to Cabal of Kos? So this is a really interesting one. I don't really know how to feel about this detachment because it's funny. So here's what it does: you get +1 strength to your ranged weapons while you're within 9 inches of a Psyker model. If you make a Dark Pact. If you're in melee, you get +1 AP if you're within 9 inches of a Demon Prince. So each time you pact, guns get +1 strength if they are near Psykers. Melee gets +1 AP if they're near Demon Princes. So it's a Demon Prince and Psyker detachment, which is very specific. And unfortunately, I don't believe the Demon Princes are Psykers in this detachment or this faction. Are they? Actually, I have no idea. They probably should be. Nope. Get fucked. So we do have Touched by the Warp to give them Psyker. So we can upgrade a guy to be Psyker. Eye of Zadesh gives 6-inch Scout. Probably just locks in on a fucking a Cursed Cultist unit and gives them Scout back. So that's usually how that goes. Nemesis Claws. That's true, actually. That's a good call out, chat. Yeah, I forgot they're Psykers. That's so funny. Mind Blade. Psyker model only gives Lance to the unit, so good for Sorcerer units. Probably very good for Possessed with Master of Possession. That's kind of where I'm feeling it. That's a lot of attack. And they're only base strength 5, right? But getting +1 to wound on all that stuff is kind of big because that unit's really fast too. Infernal Avatar is the next one. You get +2 strength, +1 AP for a Demon Prince or Winged Demon Prince. So you go to strength 10, AP 3 in melee. And also you're getting +1 AP in melee from this as well. So you're AP 4. Which is kind of cool, as long as you Dark Pact. Dark Commune is also a Psyker. Oh, you're... is it? Is the Demagogue a Psyker? It's not, right? I'm looking it up in 39K, which is super not the place to go. Because as we found out, they already got keywords wrong in this stream already, so we have to look up somewhere else. They are, in fact, not a Psyker. Yeah, there's... yeah. You cannot give it to... So the way it works is that the Demagogue... I don't know why this is going so fucking slow. the Demagogue in the Accursed Cultist unit, sorry folks, that was my bad, is the only character inside that unit. And so so he's the only guy who can receive enhancements, and Mindblade can only be assigned to a character, to a Psyker character. So you can't assign to the Mind Witch, who's the only Psyker in the unit, who would be the only eligible recipient of Mindblade. You could give him a Scout, and they will get +1 to shoot, which who cares, like, whatever. You might be able to like trail the Mind Witch to like where your guns are and then benefit them with it. So it's like, it's not useless, but they can't get the Lance ability, which is probably good because I don't think those guys need +1 to wound additional time. They're already +1 to wound once per game anyway, so it honestly probably doesn't matter. Who cares? So, stratagems. Baleful Blessing. You get a 5+ fail to pen against mortal wounds. Totally fine. You can use it on your own hazardous checks. If you fail a Dark Pact with your Forge friend, and then you use the strat, and then you get the feel no pain against your Dark Pact check and your mortal wounds. Let's go. Forge friend are probably pretty good in this attachment because you can get them to strength 13 on their guns. They wound Land Raiders on 3s if you take Vashtor. Is Vashtor a Psyker? I feel like he should be, but maybe he's like a tech guy. Let's pull up Vashtor's data sheet real quick. Is he good in this attachment? Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Sorry. I apologize. Woo! That was a good one. Vashtor is not a Psyker, nor is he a Demon Prince. Womp. So he doesn't give you any benefits. You have to have a second Psyker. But he does give you +2 strength. So you could push your strength really high, which would be cool. He could also give himself extra AP. So he goes to AP2 on his sweep. Wow, what a time. What a time to be alive. If you're next to a Demon Prince. I don't know if you have points for Demon Princes and Psykers and Vashtor. It might be a little bit of a pipe dream. I think we're overspending here a little bit. Khorne Demon Prince is strength 12, AP 4, 3 damage. That's pretty good, probably. Soul Seekers, you get ignore cover for a CP on a Heretic Astartes unit. That's good. Unholy Haste, advance and charge. Oh, they're pushing Possessed real hard for sure. They're like, hey guys, we want you to play 30 Possessed, but we want you to play it in a detachment other than Creations of Bile. And also we made Master of Possessions really cheap. Sick. No Rest in Death. Heretic Astartes unit within 9 inches of a Psyker Demon Prince. You regain D3 plus 1 lost wounds. If you are battle line, you regain D3 destroyed models to your unit with full runes remaining. Okay, that's cute. It is usable in movement phase, which is really cool. And it doesn't have to be before or after you move. So you can start in range of a Psyker and then regenerate and then move. Or you can move to a Psyker or a Demon Prince and then regenerate. The one weird thing is that you can't use it to take objectives because for your scoring, because you don't use it in command phase. But you can gain additional movement out of it if you are battle line. So if you're like Legionnaires or something. Mutations Curse. Target a Psyker from your army. Select a visible unit within 12. It does mortal wounds. It's a Doom Bolt. Almost exactly, but not quite. You just Doom Bolt somebody within 12 for a CP. That's a fine strat. Importantly, it's only visible within 12. There's no other targeting restrictions, so you can target things in melee. You can target after you've fallen back. You can advance and shoot stuff. So it's like, as you're pushing with like a possessed unit, you advance up the table. You can shoot this on the way in, and then charge with your possessed guys. Shroud of Chaos is the last one. It gives you the stealth aura that the Demon Prince has, but you can use it on a Demon Prince who already has that. So I'm... Oh, but you can also use it on a Psyker. I'm curious as to why this is able to be used on a regular Demon Prince, but maybe that's future-proofing or something. That's very strange. You can get a duplicate aura that doesn't do anything. Or you can do it on a Psyker. Importantly, it's start of your opponent's shooting phase, so you can't use it reactively in response to shooting. Use it on everything. Does it affect more units? Is that what it does? Does he affect infantry? Oh, okay. It affects all units. That's the reason it matters. So it upgrades the aura from affecting infantry. Oh, excuse me. The Chaos Whisper Demon Prince gives cover to infantry. So you can gain cover and stealth from him. That's my bad, folks. I thought that he had the stealth aura. Is that Index? Did Index have the stealth aura? Man, a cover aura is really bad. This should be an enhancement. Why don't we have an enhancement for this? Fucking cover? Really? Okay. That's funny. Wow. That's real early edition energy right there. Yeah, that's my bad. I just totally misread what he did. I think that I pulled up his datasheet earlier, and I pulled up the datasheet for the demon one. Because I literally said that he had a stealth aura, but he super doesn't. So that's my bad. This ability's trash. But you get a floating reroll, and he's kind of cheap, and he gets lone operative now. I think these guys are probably playable in this detachment. +1 AP, like at a baseline when they Dark Pact, and then you can well, you can't advance and charge with them. Can't really do anything, to be honest. Okay. I guess you could just give them the cool enhancement so they punch good. So maybe we just take a guy and he punches good. Yeah. Alright, well, I don't know. This detachment seems like totally fine. I think you're jumping through hoops a little bit. 9 inches is a big aura from your Psychers and stuff, but the comparison is like Pact-Bound Zealots or Creations of Bile. And Creations of Bile does melee better, and Pact-Bound Zealots does shooting better. So, like, I don't know if I'm that into this, to be honest. It's not a bad detachment, but it feels really mid, especially compared to the other stuff we read this during this update. I don't know if I would be that excited to play this one. Yeah, the Khorne Demon Prince does seem cool. He's just, like, slow. He's move 8. Like, it's fine because he's just going to, like, wander up the table and be lone operative, so you can deliver him kind of easily. But I don't know if I'm like, that excited about that profile. 6 attacks, like a pretty reasonable profile is like good. It's fine. Like you'll take them for the +1 AP. But that feels like mostly what the detachment's doing. Like these stratagems are all kind of nothing. Like this is nice damage. This is very situational. This is very situational. This is very situational. This is good. So like we have 2 good strats and a bunch of like really mid ones. The only one that's like really bad is like the mortal wound one. Like everyone else has this as like just fucking compare this to Coterie if they conceded and eat your heart out. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Is there like you could give strength to like Noise Marines? Is that good? Is that something? It's no AP bonus for ranged attacks besides like sorcerers or whatever. Is there any like weapon profile that like really cares about +1 strength? Besides just like tanks? Like Predator Destructors, I guess. You can give Ignore cover to. But we could just play Renegade Raiders, like, that already exists. And we don't have to take Demon Princes and Psychers to make that work. They just get it. Like autocannon Havoc squads? Is there something there? It's only 8 shots, though.
Ryan G donated $2 through Super Chat. Rubric Marines are psychers.
That's true. But they can't Dark Pact. So they actually don't get their own detachment ability. They'll grant it, but they won't gain it. So yeah. I'm meh here, chat. It's probably functional. Like, you can make a list out of this detachment, but I don't really. It's not really doing anything particularly unique, right? Like, oh, I could buff my guns and stuff. Yeah, well, I could just fucking play Renegade Raiders or Soulforge War Pack. Oh, but I can buff my melee attacks and my speed. Oh, I could just play Creations of Bile or Pact-Bound Zealots. So, like, why am I here? And I have to, like, jump through hoops and take weird models for it? Yeah. Lance on Possessed that Advance in Charge is good. And, like, this Infernal Avatar Demon Prince is probably good. But, and, like, we can get a Scout, a Cursed Cultist unit. It feels like it's just kind of, like, taking a couple of the other detachments and, like, sort of mishmashing them together. Bleep bloop. A lot of steps for something mid. Yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling about it. Should we talk about the new servitors, chats? We are kind of wrapping up here. I know we want to talk about base sizes for a moment. Some people are excited about that. I'd like to talk about servitors for a sec. I'm probably running a little bit late because we're running overtime here. I do have a game scheduled in a couple hours, or not a couple hours, like 20 minutes over on Twitch. So I can't stay for too long on the stream. But if you want to come hang out with me over on Twitch, I'll be live immediately afterwards. That's twitch.tv/TacticalTortoise. We're playing Khorne Demonkin versus Adeptus Custodes for a Teams event. Here you go. There's the link. Give me a follow. And we'll be live with that after we finish up over here. So let's talk about the servitors. So it's 90 points, or it's, excuse me, 60 points for 9 models. What do you get? You get an Underseer, who is a tech priest. Oh, thank you for the follow over on the Twitchies. Let me fix my viewer here. I feel like I am. That's better. So you get an Underseer who is a tech priest. Otherwise, they are just dudes. So it's 1 Underseer, 2 gun servitors who are equipped with 1 heavy arc rifle, 1 heavy bolter. Okay. And then 3. Hey, Doots.
Doots donated $2 through Super Chat.
Mr. Doots. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. You're fueling me up before my team game, so I perform well, right? And then we get 6 combat servitors who are equipped with phosphor blasters and servo claws. Wait, is this... Holy shit, what? If a unit can be attached to Cataphront Breachers, you can attach it to the Servitor Battleclade instead. Wait, is this unit, like, incredible? Hold up. So what can attach to Cataphront Breachers? Let's find out. Let's do some research here. It's a Manipuli and the other guy, the who's the other tech priest guy? Fuck. It's Cataphront features specifically. Okay. It is Dominus, Engine Seer, Manipulist, Techno-Archaeologist. Are there any cool things we can do? So, Engine Seer doesn't do anything. Techno-Archaeologist gives +1 OC, but they're already OC1. Manipulus and Dominus are the most interesting, but I don't know if I really care about buffing these guys, to be honest, because these characters are, they're not super expensive. But it does double their points value. So you can give a 5+ Feel No Pain from the Dominus, and then the Manipulus can grant lethal hits and a once per game 4+, which is fine. But I think realistically, we're paying 60 points for 10 models. So I probably doubt that we actually care that much about these guys' attachment ability, or 9 models, excuse me. 60 points for 9 models is like a really good rate, and they have guns. So we get... They have Doctrinas? They fucking do. So they're they can be, at any time, +1 ballistic skill on all of these numbers. So they can hit on 3s. Excuse me. They have weapon options. You can have 1 Meltagun, and you can have 3 Incendine Igniters, which I assume is a flamer. It is a strength 3 flamer, which whatever. So we have we can have 1 Melta, 1 Heavy Bolter, 1 Arc Rifle, and up to 10 Phosphor Blaster shots that hit on 3s. Plus the Tech Priest, plus like a bunch of really like trash melee attacks, like Strength 4, AP 0. They have a 6+ invuln save, and it costs 60 points. So I guess here's the awkward part, is that they are in direct competition with Battle Line Infantry. So the benefit is that they are significantly cheaper, 20 to 30 points cheaper than Battle Line Infantry. They don't grant the keyword. However, well, they contain 1 or more Tech Priest models, so as long as the Tech Priest hasn't died, or the Underseer, the Servitor Underseer, this model is directly out of War Machine, by the way. There's a War Machine model that looks exactly like this. Yeah, it's this guy. Just change the homework a little bit so you can't tell that it's copied. That's Exulon Thexus. Just the same guy. All right. He's even got the same gas mask too, and like his little claws are in the same pose. Just literally the same model. Okay, fair enough. The Underseer is not a character. No, but it doesn't matter because he's a Tech Priest. So as long as you haven't killed your own Underseer, the unit gets these abilities, which allow them to advance and perform actions and shoot and perform actions. So it's like the world's greatest utility unit ever. And you can put them in Scorpius Dune Riders if you need to as well for delivery. So they can like 3-inch disembark, move 6+1, perform an action. These are phenomenal. This unit's incredible. Like the whole thing is this points value, right? They're like, what are they? Like 7 points per model just about for a unit that can advance, perform actions, and shoot, and has like otherwise pretty normal stats. Like T4, 4-up, 6-up. Like, what are we talking about right now? That's like a legit profile, and we have 10 wounds in the unit. It's a scout squad that advances and performs actions. And has like more models for like higher OC, more models for funny for funny screening stuff. Dude, this unit just fucking rules, dude. Proof that War Machine's a better game. Copy my homework, but make it like different. It's like so is the same, right? It's like literally identical model. Servitor's gone from 4 model idiot units to 9 model Chad unit. Yeah, because like a servitor unit's like 40 points, right? So for 20 more points, you get literally more than double the units. Oh, they're 50. Excuse me. So we can pay like 1.5 point or 2 points per model for another 5 guys in the servitor unit. No mind if I do. I'll buy that for $1. Wow. These guys are very good, chat. What a unit. And they're like randomly going to kill things with like an arc rifle and a melt-a-gun. Yeah, dude, wow. I think you just like windmill slam 2 of these into your army and like call it a day. These feel really strong. Yummy. All right, chats. Real quick, chapter approved time. I think that's where we're at right now. Before we hop off and go play some fucking games. The amount that I have like work to do after this, which sucks, but the amount that I want to just rock games with the new Tyranid Detachment is pretty high. I wonder if I need sleep tonight. Probably not, right? Maybe we can just keep playing. It's fine. Chapter approved tournament companion is out. There are some objective. There's some rules and stuff. This is actually a little different than the packet one because the packet one has a like declare game mode step, which we obviously don't need for this one. They have a series of recommended rule sets to use. I wonder if they talk about twists and stuff. I think they just don't say to use them. Score VP by achieving secondaries and challengers. Yeah, I just don't think that they use them at all. So we're just using like strike force missions from the deployment or from the set. I believe that the only rules change in here is that you are not allowed to use no prisoners as a fixed secondary. Why they even listed this, I don't know. It always confuses me. But because like I think in Leviathan they made this mistake because they literally just accidentally added this to one of the secondaries. But in this one they have to like specify a fixed like mission parameter. So like accidentally adding it's like pretty embarrassing. Like I don't really understand why this is in here. Anyway, so the big change, there are changes to the mission pool. It looks like for the most part we're focusing on short table edge deployments, which I think is pretty. I guess there's a lot of tipping point in this one. But Dawn of War is like really restricted, which it makes a lot of sense because that deployment's kind of trash. There's some adjustments to the terrain layouts. I don't want to say they're new. Like layout 1's basically the same. Layout 2 has been moved, I think, but it's basically the same. Layout 3 is exactly the same. As far as I know, these are the same. I haven't looked at all the measurements. 4, I believe, is the same. 5 is also, I believe, the same. 6 is, I believe, also the same. 7 is slightly changed. These terrain features have been moved off the edge of the table, so you can draw line of sight through here and move vehicles and stuff, which should open some more lines around the corners, which will make more open play, which I appreciate because this... I kind of vetoed this in a lot of my games because it's the most fucking boring thing to play on ever, so I think this is a lot more interesting. Layout 8 basically has been totally revamped. It looks a lot like previous Layout 7, which I'm not super excited about. Layout 8, I hope, is not quite as good as it appears to be because it looks like if you play Hammer and Anvil, it's just like impenetrable lines of sight, and I don't know how anyone ever shoots anything. So I don't super love this one either. I really liked the old Layout 8 with the 4 things in the middle because it allowed for these like really close range gunfights. You could get really good line of sight to people if you played in the middle of the table. This layout looks like fucking trash. So I don't know. Maybe I'd only play this on like corner deployments or something. Nope, it plays on hammer and anvil. Yep. I don't know. This looks like it sucks. I, in under no circumstances, want to play here. Like, you're perfectly blocked here. You're perfectly blocked here. You're almost perfectly blocked in this corner. You're basically perfectly blocked over here. So all you have to do is, like, move here, stage, and you're, like, totally invincible. I don't know. It's just going to be like, no one does anything, and then round 5, you push for the middle. And then that's going to be exacerbated by challenger cards, because if anybody pushes and makes a big swing, the opponent gets a challenger card, and it counter hits them. So, like, I don't know. This looks like super boring. Maybe I'm wrong, chat, but I looked at this and was like, oh, great, we took the best layout, and we made it really bad. Cool. Cool. Let's go. On 7, they moved the middle ruins down. Oh, like this way? That seems good. Yep, challenger cards are in there, which I think is good. I wonder if, and obviously this document's very valuable because there's a really easy lever to pull on challenger cards. You just change this number if challenger cards end up being strong, and if they end up being really strong, you can change it to like 9 or 15 VP or something, so that like it gives you an option if you're getting dumpstered. Right now, it does feel really easy to unlock them. But in all of my games, they have not actually changed the result of the game. The player who is up, that's not entirely true. In one of my games, I was able to win on the back, but I don't think it was on the back of challenger cards. But the challenger cards did help quite a bit. But in most of my games, the player who's up wins anyway. Has been the result. They just win by like 8 to 10 points rather than like 15 to 20 has been the difference. So I don't know if there'll be a huge change, but we'll see once like the hyper competitive level of competition gets a hold of them. What's to stop late game scoring fixed objectives from sandbagging? Sandbagging. Well, if you have fixed objectives that score, fixed objectives that score late, they're not really anything. But I think that like your opponent gets a lot more control over when they can score those. So you could play fixed, but I think tactical is probably still going to be the way to play. The tactical objective deck got way better, so it's much easier to score most of the tactical objectives. So tactical players are going to have a leg up on you, I think, in terms of score versus fixed. Still. No ritual? Oh, thank God. We played ritual last night, and we had 11 objectives on the table at the end. It was too many objectives. Yeah, no ritual. Supply drop's still there, but it's only, looks like, I guess it's 2 layouts, but I don't think I'll run supply drop in my events because I don't think that they changed it enough. But I'll run it for a little bit, and we'll see. Oh, it's on 3. Sorry. I'll run it for a little bit, and we'll see how we feel about it. But I do think supply drop's probably toxic. Yeah, I don't know. That's the one that gets my goat, I think. My 159 goats. Hey. Got tempting target storm, bottom of turn 5 on supply drop. Oh my god. Just the casual 20-point turn, 25-point turn, no big deal. If you're losing up to that point, then you get a challenger too. Just like Windmill Slam, a 28-point turn. Let's go! Big, easy game. Warhammer 40,000, the easiest miniature game ever made. Here's the big thing, chat. Base size guide. This document contains the most up-to-date base sizes appropriate for Warhammer 40,000 models that can be used in matched play. If you want to play in a tournament, you got to put your models on these base sizes. I have not looked through all of these. Most of them seem pretty straightforward. But yeah, I'm so glad we have this. Yeah, the weird one is the... Look for demons. So Soul Grinders got a base. Defilers have a base. That's a big one. This is kind of a surprise to me because I don't believe that Defilers have ever been packaged with a base. So I think this is brand new. Although I might be wrong about that. They could have come with a base and just not used it. This is probably very controversial, and I imagine that a lot of people don't like this. I think it's fucking awesome. Give everything a base. Just get rid of everything that has hull on it. Get rid of it. Just axe it from the game. Everything should have a base all the time, forever. Make the game better. Or we give it a base. I don't know. But even if the base is really big and it's hard to play with, first of all, removes the question, are we supposed to have a base on this thing? For Defilers, I think it was a pretty easy answer. For Soul Grinders, as we discussed at the beginning of the live stream, it was really awkward. I don't know where the Chaos Demon sheet is. Ah! Not what I want. Oop. Nice. So Soul Grinders now are required to be on a 160mm base if you play them in a tournament setting. Obviously, as we discussed, that was like kind of controversial previously. He's on the second page because there's so many units. And I think it's harder to play with the big base versus the hull measuring model, but I think it makes it much cleaner. Suddenly now, first of all, don't have to pay for rotation. That's kind of cool. But also we don't get all of those fucking insane corner cases about how how the arms work and shit. Because there used to be, it's not quite as bad in 10th edition, but there used to be situations in 9th edition where you could literally prevent models from being attacked by using a Soul Grinder you would wrap the claws, and you could do this with Defilers too, it happened a lot. You could wrap the claws around a model, and it couldn't be attacked by the opponent. It was fucking wild. But now it just has a base, so you just play it like a regular unit. I believe when I played Soul Grinders, I played them on a base the last time I played with Legion of XS, and it was fine. But Soul Grinders are pretty special because they deep strike everywhere. So you can up down and reposition yourself. So it's not the end of the world if they're just like jumping around the table. So I don't know. It's pretty sweet. Do you have to buy a monolith to get an official GW 160 mail? I believe that you can just buy a 160 on Games Workshop's website. I think you have to buy them direct if you want the official ones, but Reaper Miniatures, I buy their bases a lot. I actually literally have an entire box on my hobby desk entirely full of Reaper Miniature proxy bases. But you can purchase, yes. I don't know where we would find bases on the site. There are bases here. You can't buy them in stores, which is annoying. And apparently I talked to a store rep at some point, and they said that they wanted to limit the capacity of people who 3D print to buy official Games Workshop bases. And I was like, but that's what I want to do. And they're like, yeah, that's why. And I was like, oh, I'll just buy them from Reaper and give their competition money, I guess. But Reaper Miniatures sells 160 mils. Can I find... the problem is that if I search 160mm base, I find every model in the game that has a 160mm base packaged with it. Some of these are square bases. So maybe you can't buy the official base on the website. That's annoying. Is there a category for bases? Feels like it would be in... This website's like non-functional. I can't see anything. I can't read these. Is there like a hobby section? No? Get fucked? Terrain, unit types? How do I buy paints on here? This is all game stuff. Yeah. Huh? All right. Well, whatever. Just like I bought a bunch of these, but like can find listings for them. Here you go, chat. Ta-da! eBay for $6. Buy a base. This is 3D printed, which is fine. But I believe that there's also Reaper ones from Back to Basics or whatever. The 160 is temporarily out of stock. I wonder why. Could it be because they just added 160 millimeter bases to a bunch of models they had before? Could be. I don't know. Who needs sleep? Not me. Click more in the building pane? Okay. I'm not going to do that, but anyway. There's ways to get 160 mils, chat. It's not that hard. You can buy them on Amazon for like $9, I think, if you want a plastic one. Or apparently people 3D print them for $6. Seems fun. Seems good. $2 in Chinese. Yeah, then you have to buy. I think usually like Alibaba I saw has them. Yeah, but then you have to wait. You probably have to pay out the nose for shipping, and then you have to wait for like a million years. Here's what you do. Maybe I'll do this. Just buy like 100 of these, and then I'll just sell them. I can buy 30 for $62. Oh, and then I get them in 22nd, 3 weeks. And then I'll just sell them. I don't know. Should I do that? Should we start a resale business for AliExpress 160 mil bases? It's probably make good money, actually. Yeah, resell them to subscribers. Yeah, for sure. I wanted to do like a proxy base. I drew up designs and everything, and I actually bought a subscription to SolidWorks so I could like model them, and then I just never had time. But what I want to do is build a system of proxy bases that stack together, and then like sell a set of them for pre-measuring and stuff. And I also had an idea to do like a chain that you could put between them to measure out movements of like, you know, like linked pieces, like linked 1-inch measurements, basically, so that you could do movements around buildings and stuff and like showcase it. It would require me to design that, and I'm not an engineer, and I don't know how, and also I have no time, so I don't know, is what it is. Speaking of no time, I'm going to be late for my game. Curl my cat into a 160 millimeter fall. Indeed. What was I going to say? Oh, I think this is the end of the stream, chat. This update, there's some weird stuff in here. Obviously, I could have wished we got a Death Guard nerf, maybe, to bring them in line with the rest of the game. The Chaos Space Marine Detachment feels like kind of nothing, but it's not like Chaos Space Marines aren't doing anything. Like, Renegade Raiders and Creations of Bile are still good. The new Tyranid stuff looks fucking super cool. And the rest of the game looks sweet. I don't know. I'm a little worried about Space Marines just being like ubiquitous, because it feels like Ultramarines are still fine. Blood Angels and Space Wolves, and maybe even Dark Angels, look really good. But I don't know if that competes with the stuff for like the out of Space Marine faction stuff that's like super strong. So I'm not sure. I have no idea. But anyway, chat, it's gonna be it for me. I'm going to go ahead and head over to Twitch. Thanks, everyone, for watching. I'll see you on Twitch in, like, 10 minutes or so. So, keep it classy, folks. Have happy wargaming. Tyranids will munch on Space Marines? Not if you bring an Infiltrator squad. Then you just fucking defeat that entire stupid Deep Strike detachment. But, you know, we'll see. Maybe there's counterplay. So, yeah. I'll see you over there, everybody. Thanks for watching here today. Keep it classy, folks. Have happy wargaming. And let's go fight some Custodes.